pure gaping. Jude, can we go? We good, Jude?
What?
Ask him if we're good.
Are we good, Jude?
Good man, Jude. Fantastic. Welcome. The podcast has started.
Oh my God.
Probably didn't realise it was. We've been rolling for about 20 minutes. Welcome, Glenn and Kelley from Wildlife. Because whenever I said I'm at Wildlife, it's Wildlife.
You can call us what you like. It's just wildlife.
Wildlife.
Wild.
So welcome to the podcast, guys. We've for anybody, since Glenn, you've been on, we've a few more listeners than usual. You're episode 22.
That's right, yeah. Like 2.5 years ago.
Kelley, what do you think of
it was 2023. We were looking it up.
2023.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
I've been listening to it this week, just on and off. It was a great episode. Like, it was some crack. Nearly 3 hours long as well, I think.
Once I start.
Everyone settle in. Now there's two of us.
Brilliant.
What did you think of that episode yourself?
I thought it was brilliant. Really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Was it different to hear him talk like that, or in that sort of medium, I suppose?
I suppose it was like it was a new experience,
Yeah.
you know, for Glenn and for me.
Yeah.
But no, I was really chuffed, really proud.
I'm always banging on about stuff.
Have you done any other podcasts? You bound to have done.
No, I don't think I have.
No?
I've done one through my work, but we haven't done any others. No. We're talking about setting our own up at some point.
That's a great idea.
That'd be great.
That's a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
Just as a way of that talking about stuff through conversations, just a nice way to dig into stuff that
100%.
doesn't feel like it's being presented to you. And Kelley and I, because we've known each other for forever, we bounce off of each other quite well. So
Talk a lot of shit.
A lot of shade. Me and my wife would make a good podcast then, that's for sure. That's the case.
We should get her on again.
Really? No, we'll get her on again. Last time she was on. Definitely not. So, welcome to you both. Glenn is Ireland's premier primal health coach, blending physical training, natural movement and nutrition with ancestral practices such as wild food foraging. Kelley embraces self-sufficiency and has a background in mental health. She specialises in fermentation, gut health, sustainable food practices and mindset.
Sounds good.
What a
There you go.
That sounds
There you
good.
go.
Combo.
There you go.
See that word ancestral or without.
You got it right.
Thank you.
Congrats.
The Liver King has fucked up that word. Anytime I hear that now, I think of him.
yeah, no,
Which is terrible.
he's done quite. Do you know who the LiverKing is?
No, I do.
God.
Well,
Well
I do. We were
So,
talking.
you
were talking about him the other day.
Yeah, he's in a complete meltdown at the moment.
I've seen.
But yeah, I mean that's the only reason you've got us back on, isn't it? Because if you hadn't of, I would have done
So
a
what
Liver
do you think
King
about the Liver King then?
But, yeah, no, he's obviously a troubled young man.
There's definitely mental health problems.
Oh,
there.
100%. And I hope he gets the help he needs soon. But yeah, he has kind of foobarred the whole ancestral health and primal.
For anybody,
that
for anybody that doesn't know who that is, including Kelley, the Liver King was ancestral. He said ancestral there. Ancestral. No, ancestral. That was his kind of thing the last maybe 5 or 6 years, and he was eating liver, obviously, and he was making out that his physique and his life was all down to that, but he was absolutely roided to the gills. Like he was
clearly see
he was
too.
absolutely roided. Like he could barely move. And
Massive.
So you obviously wanted me to admit my steroid use.
Tell us, come on.
why do you look so good?
I do have an inhaler, so I put it all down to that. My weak lungs. But yeah, no, he's an odd chap. But,
And he went after Joe Rogan apparently.
yeah, desperately trying to fight Joe Rogan.
He's just trying to get on the podcast and make a bit of a name for himself.
Yeah,
He's a pile of shite. So since you've been on, the podcast has changed, and we've changed it all the time. For every different question or the way we format it, I suppose. Whenever we bring two people on, it's a wee bit different again. So we're not doing our normal episode. We're going to do it a wee bit different, tailored to you guys a wee bit, find out a bit about yourselves and stuff. So I have a couple of wee quizzes here. One very simple stuff. Some of it's about guts. Oh no, sorry, the gut health and stuff, and another's about
guts.
habit.
Yeah.
Another's about habit forming, all very basic stuff as well.
That's good.
Everybody at home will get to know you a wee bit more, and then wanted to chat to you a wee bit more about Glenn, about your background a wee bit more. I know we have a full 3 hours of it, but we'll probably glaze over yours a wee bit because we already have that episode. Everybody go back and listen to episode 22. We'll get a wee bit about yourself, and Kelley will probably go into a lot more in depth, and then we'll round it all up and we'll chat about wildlife and how all your skills come together, I suppose, and everything you're at and stuff like that there. So that's the plan anyway. That's the crack.
When are we drinking this? What point?
What have we got in front of us? Anyway, what is this?
So you've got a few shot glasses here. You've got ginger kombucha, nettle kombucha, coffee kombucha. You've got
kvass.
beetroot and ginger kvass, and you've got berry and elderflower water kefir.
Okay.
Oh,
all of-
kefir.
yeah.
Water kefir.
Yeah, so it's
water
different from the milk
kefir.
kefir that you might
Yeah.
have seen
How do you
or
make
tried
water
before.
kefir?
Slightly differently.
So I wish I'd brought the what did you say?
Slightly differently.
Cheeky bastard. Is that how we're doing this, Glenn? Sorry.
So do you want me to go into it now? Into
It's up to you, yeah.
Yeah, to talk a wee bit about it. We can still continue with it. I think.
yeah. So the water kefir, a lot of people would be more familiar with milk kefir.
Yeah, I
so
do
that's-
not like it.
No, and nobody. No, I don't know many people who would say that they actually like it. It can taste a bit like vomit. If it's really milk kefir is fermented milk, so you use specific milk kefir grains to ferment milk, and it sort of produces this almost a bit like yogurt, but it can get really, really sour. The longer you leave it to ferment, then the taste can put a lot of people off, but
It's very good for you, isn't it?
it's very
But
good for
it's
you.
edible, like even if it's that sour.
Yeah, it is.
Oh
It's-
yeah,
you
yeah.
can drink
I
it,
mean,
yeah.
like I would put some into like a smoothie or protein shake, or I used
Good
to
idea.
sneak it into the kids' yogurt until they got like old enough to, older and wiser, and
It's yogurt
spotted
gone
me.
bad.
Yeah. Just like, what did you put? What she put in this time? And yeah, so it's something that, well, I mean, a lot of people, if you're hardcore, some people would just fill up a full glass of it and just
Would you do that,
Jude? There you go, Jude. He's hardcore.
You're some boy. Like,
You're not well.
what would you drink? What would you drink it with? Not as a casual drinker of it, but would you drink it with something?
No, just
Little umbrella, little umbrella, innit?
you mean like if you're having it with a meat? It's nice with fruit and stuff. It's kind of treated like yogurt as well. But it's nice for
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Well,
and you
what do
can
you
make
get?
dips with it. Like it's same if you were using yogurt, you can make kefir
Yeah.
dips.
That
And
would be
use
nice.
different
That'd be
flavors.
nice.
So it's not. The thing is that you don't notice if it's mixed in with something else. You don't really notice it, and it's
Yeah.
only gets more of a sour taste if it's over fermented. Like you
Yeah.
really only want to ferment for like 2 days, 3 days tops. But if you're like me, I leave it on the worktop and forget about it, and then it's really sour. But it's nothing
Isn't
wrong
it like,
with it.
as a lot of things, it is an acquired taste, and you do get more used to it, and you're able to take it
Nice.
further.
You do, yeah.
But
And then
water
the water-
kefir
yeah.
is like the gateway drug of fermented drink.
So it's not as sorry.
It's
Do you want to have a taste of
Yeah,
that
let's
one?
have a taste.
So it's that
it's
pink
the
one.
pink fizzy, the light pink one.
Right, John. Me and you's gonna do this.
There's one there for Jude as
Do we-
well.
Oh,
He's-
legends.
Should we like?
Oh, we should.
So
So this one, so as I said, water kefir is different.
Zoom in on his face.
So
while
you
he's
get
drinking
you can get the milk kefir grains, and then if you want to make water kefir, it's a different type of grain. They're more like translucent, almost like a jelly-like grain, and
it's like effervescent. It's quite.
it,
Yeah,
smell-
it's-
it
and it
smells like a
makes it-
shot, like an alcoholic shot.
yeah.
this. Oh, that's lovely.
Lightly
So it's
It smells like
fizzy.
cider, even.
It should
First
be
one's free.
fizzy. It's maybe a bit flat.
Are you actually selling this? No. Oh.
I give workshops to show people how to make
How
it.
to make it.
Yeah.
That's really good.
It's lovely, yeah. It's really nice.
So, and like you can add that to a cocktail, like if you wanted to.
Yeah, that does have like a.
So what is this then?
So when you make water kefir, you use the grains and you put them into a sugar water. So you've dissolved sugar in water. Then the yeasts and the bacteria in the grains, they will feed off the sugars, and then they basically the whole process, when it's fermenting, they produce carbon dioxide, so it's a more effervescent. It can be really, really fizzy. It's carbonated drink. That's and then once it's fermented and you've kind of got past that stage, you separate it from the grains and then you can flavour it. So you could add anything, any fruit, any.
What was in this? What flavour?
That was like a mixed sort of summer berry, like strawberries, raspberries.
And are you just throwing that into the water kefir?
So once I've separated it from the grains, I'll have my jar, which is just the water kefir, and then I'll add berries, and like that was made when the elderflowers were out. So I went round and cut some elderflower, but you can add lime, kiwi, lemon. You can just play around with it. That's the whole thing with fermenting. You just start experimenting.
Before we move on, when are you doing the workshops, just so people can...
If you keep an eye on the social media pages, like usually Facebook and Instagram, I tend to, a lot of my work, a lot of the workshops that I do at the minute are with community groups. So I started with community gardens because I managed a community garden for 10 years, and then I worked for a charity that supported across Mid-Ulster, supported community gardens, and it started, this is me going off on a slight tangent, but it started from that because originally it was we were looking at how to manage our kind of glut. You know, if you'd got excited in the spring and sown too many seeds, and then you'd have loads of like cabbage or carrot or courgette, and we wanted to find ways to preserve that. So that's how it started. So I do a lot of work with community groups and community gardens. That's a long way of saying that if anyone wants me, they can get in touch.
Was it a way of preserving vegetables then?
It started as that we were just like, looking at, we'd done sort of the pickles, going down that kind of pickles and jams and chutneys. I was never a fan of that. I never like mushy vegetables in vinegar is just not my thing. For like
as a topping for burgers and stuff like that, I think.
Like it has its place, and there's loads of lovely chutneys and things, but the thing that I suppose attracted me to the fermenting, because as I said, initially it was vegetables, was when you ferment them, a lot of the time they keep their texture, they keep a bit of crunch, and you can flavour them and they've still got a freshness, a fresh flavour. So that's sort of where it started. But I'll go anywhere and do these workshops for anyone. For me, it's moved into talking about the gut health and that side of things, because obviously now that's become such a hot topic. And I feel that it's just so important for anyone to learn these skills, because they can really support their immune system, and it's low income, you don't have to, it's low cost. So if you have a cabbage, or you could, even if you went to the food bank or a community fridge and they had carrots, with some salt and a jar, you can make something and transform it into something that's really good for you, supports you and your family's health,
and it lasts much longer.
And it lasts, so you're not. So it's also reducing food waste.
And we're doing an online
version
fermenting course.
Very cool.
So just go through a number of different techniques, and then with recipes, recipe book and stuff that goes with it.
That's a great idea.
So once you know the technique, you can start experimenting with it.
Yeah.
But interestingly, that effervescence, like every culture around the world has some form of fermented food culture.
Yes.
And like that fizziness, that's potentially why we have such a desire for fizzy pops, minerals and whatever, because it's hardwired into our system to go for this. And you're like, the sourness, we've got those different taste sensors on the tongue, and sour is there, and it's there for a reason. And I think all of those taste sensors on our tongue are kind of like it's for biological survival. So we've got the sweet sensor, because carbohydrates are quite difficult to get in the wild in any great source. So when we get them, it lights up, our brain lights up. The bitter thing, bitters are really good for digestion.
That better, to be honest.
But it's but that one.
Wait till you try one of the other ones.
but then the sour.
We started you off easy.
Yeah,
that's the light one.
I think we did. Yeah. It looked very tamed.
Delicious. That was really good. I could drink like a bottle of that.
Do you want another one then?
Yeah, what should we have?
We'll go for another one. What's the next one?
So if you want to go for the kombuchas,
aye, let's try.
So
what's a kombucha?
So kombucha is fermented. Traditionally, it's fermented tea.
Sorry, what was it? Sorry.
So it's fermented tea.
Okay.
So again, it's that one's nettle.
Nettle.
That one's nettle kombucha. So
That's incredible.
I'm kind of really into
Holy shit.
the kind of, I really love
That's lovely.
seeing what we've got seasonal. Now, obviously now we've gone past the elderflowers, we've gone past the nettles, so I'm cheating a bit, but it was the first time this year that I sort of thought I'm going to just bung a handful of nettles into the kombucha and see what happened.
You'd never I would never think about eating a nettle in any form, and then
You're getting a citrusy hit.
Yeah.
So
it's really tasty.
There's massive amount,
and
of
I can feel a wee
C.
sting as well. But it's a nice sting. It's not the one.
So
that
that would be that tang of the fermentation.
So
Nice kombucha
that
I've ever had.
That's lovely.
There you go.
I've tasted the
There
one
you
in the
go.
shops.
I've
It's
had a
shit
lot of
like.
kombucha. That's
So that is
top tier.
Really tasty.
again. So with the kombucha, you can use different types of tea. So it's like a sweet. You basically make a big sort of like a sweet tea, and it could be your normal sort of black builder's tea, or it can be there's like a white tea. There's different sort of Chinese teas, green tea. The one that you've just had is red bush tea. So it's a South African, and it's caffeine free.
Rooibos.
It's rooibos or red bush, yeah. And so I like to try different types of tea. Honestly, I mean, our kitchen, it's ridiculous. It's just, like
I can
Harry
imagine your
Potter.
kitchen's just. It is
It's just
probably
these
Hogwarts.
jars. Yeah, it is like
Food in
Dumbledore.
our fridge. It's just jars of
The-
bubbling.
Dumbledore's off. It's just
We were just saying that we're going to have to get, like in Jaws, they say we're going to need a bigger boat. We're going to need a bigger fridge. But yeah, so fermented tea, and then Glenn makes coffee kombucha, which is fermented coffee. So you basically, do you want to show them the SCOBY?
Oh yeah. So
Scooby.
the kombucha. So whereas you have the grains, my hands are clean.
I think I drink your dirty kombucha.
You heard it here, folks. So whereas
Is this like a starter for?
so whereas the kefir is grains, and they look like small little grains, the kombucha is a SCOBY. SCOBY stands for symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast.
Bacteria and yeast. Just to say that the grains in kefir, they're not actually grains, which can be confusing for people. They're not of any sort of it's
Grain
not
family.
a grain. Yeah, it's not a grain family.
Okay.
It's a naturally occurring. They're also called SCOBYs because they are also a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast, but
Just a different
it's
kind.
more well known. It's that's what creates the they culture whatever it is
The
that you're
kefir,
making.
it stays in a granular form, whereas this will grow to whatever the shape of the vessel that it's in.
So it's known as a pellicle.
Is it?
That's the official name. Is a
So
pellicle.
so this is part of a baby SCOBY. Look at the thickness of that. So
A
this
ba-
was
a baby
So
SCOBY.
they have babies. So I am.
What's going on?
It's like something out of Alien or something.
So yeah, for
It is.
anybody who's just listening to this, this looks like kind of like the bottom of an old man's foot.
It has fatty sort of.
It does
about
look like fatty, yeah.
Yeah.
So but it will build new layers on it. But when I bought it, I think it was a round one, and then our pot that we make this in is square, so it forms the shape of that. And actually, people utilise that. People have made clothes out of this. You can create the shape of the pattern by putting it in a vessel. People have made surfboards out of this kind of technology as well, growing surfboards and things like this.
Wow.
So I wouldn't recommend making clothing out of it because it's kind of slimy in the rain.
Yeah.
But that's the SCOBY.
So you kind of need one of those to get started. So you can either, because like Glenn said, they do make babies. So if you're, yeah, pretty pokey, that one.
So we can give you the coffee one now. So
Don't touch it. That's for Jude.
You add your bacteria to it.
but this is a wonderful thing.
He's taking it with you.
This is a wonderful thing. Every kind of SCOBY, the actual makeup of it is going to be different based on the water that you're using, the ingredients that you're using, the yeast and bacteria that are in your kitchen.
Does the acidity of the water matter? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. Yeah.
You can get the pH tester.
And what's the best sort of type of water?
So it's a good question. I mean, like if you're being really
Trying to get a really
pure, you'd be using distilled water. But I just use filtered water. But you can use just tap water, but you'd leave it sitting out. Ideally, you'd have to leave it sitting out so that some of the chlorine content and whatever.
Yeah, we've a water like Kangen machine.
Yeah.
Changes the pH level of the water to like specific what you want. Like.
Yeah. So I mean, in terms
I don't know
of,
if it would be high, low, which would be better.
I mean, it goes acidic anyway, so
it wouldn't matter.
I don't know how much it would matter. It might speed up or slow down the process. The temperature speeds up and slows down. So the reason why I'm talking about the coffee kombucha is like we've just had a period of really warm weather, and
that one's quite strong.
It fermented very quickly and quicker than I expected it to. So this is sort of got kind of over fermented. So coffee kombucha, I love coffee, and this has got that kind of hit of the coffee, but it's kind of because it's fizzy.
Should we try it
it's
first?
cold
go
and
on.
it's sour.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I'll try whatever.
I always liken it to being slapped in the face with a velvet glove. So this is being slapped in the face with a velvet glove with some barbed wire in it. So it might hit the back of your nose.
Notice I put less.
Smell.
It's not.
You tell people this at markets and stuff, and you're like, this is.
Oh yeah, that has the.
That's how you get people into.
It's still
drinking.
nice though.
Yeah. So
This is the coffee one.
Yeah, so that's gone. That's fermented too far from. I like the flavour, but I've been drinking it for a long time.
I don't mind that.
That's fantastic.
It's very earthy.
Hits the back of the nose.
Does.
Good work. Then.
These are all water.
No, these are kombucha.
These are kombuchas.
So we've moved on to
Kefir,
kombucha.
I don't think I'm a fan of, but
Back of the throat, all right.
So you had the water kefir.
That's
You
nice
like the
though.
water-
yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
See, in terms of these helpings, what's the when would someone have one of these? You know, what in someone's daily life? When would they have? Is this like something for the morning? Would you have it in bigger quantities? Well, Jude would have a bucket
Yeah,
of
it's
it.
a good question.
Grace has kombucha whenever it's like instead of a fizzy drink. She like.
But that's
Yeah.
probably from. What's the difference in that and stuff you buy in the shop? 'Cause I've
Yes,
never enjoyed
great
stuff you buy in
question.
the shop.
The fizzy kombucha that
Stuff
you
in the
buy
shop's garbage.
So a lot of stuff you buy in the shop will be pasteurised or treated to take out any.
the bacteria. Kind of defeating the purpose.
So
of
they'll often have certain bacteria. So I would say you're going to have a lot more variety between batches even of the stuff you make yourself. So again, different times of the year, different bacterias and fungi and yeasts and molds that are in the air, that are in your house, that are in your fingertips. They're all going to make it slightly different. So obviously stuff you buy in a shop, they want consistency.
Yeah.
So
yeah, right enough. Yeah.
But having said that, because it is becoming more popular, sort of a general rule of thumb is if you buy something from the refrigerated section in the supermarket, it's less likely to be sort of so heat treated. You know, like the stuff that's sort of in a bottle, like a kombucha, may have had sugar added to it. You know, I suppose you're in more you've got more control if you make it at home.
Yeah,
it's cheaper. Once you've got a SCOBY, you've got a SCOBY for life, and babies if you
Scooby's
want.
not just for Christmas.
You know,
That sounds like a good t-shirt.
definitely
That sounds
not.
like a
It
good
needs
t-shirt.
to be.
Scooby for life.
This all
Scooby
needs.
One Kenobi.
Scooby One Kenobi. That's great.
There's a lot of they require attention, you know. But you're asking in terms of quantity. With all of this, I always say start small. That's why I give everyone a shot glass, you know, in my workshops. It's just to get the taste. There's things that you'll like, there's things that you like less. And so if you think, oh yeah, I really love the nettle one, yeah, I'm going to go for making that. If you have not really had much fermented food or drink and then you bosh a whole glass of something, it can make you feel unwell. You know, there is a reaction that can go on in the gut, and it's essentially you know, this sort of relationship between the bacteria that's already in your gut, in your sort of lower intestine, and what you're introducing. And it's actually called Herxheimer's reaction, where people can, it just produces the toxins go into, you know, around the bloodstream, and it makes you feel ill.
It's like a street fight in your gut between the existing ones there and the new gang coming in.
You know, they call it like
healthy gang.
Just imagine
friendly.
warriors.
It's like you know, they talk about friendly bacteria. I mean, I sort of, it's beneficial bacteria. It's, you know, it's beneficial for the gut. So with this, as with anything, start small and then you can build up. And yeah, if you want to have a glass of kombucha at any time of the day, it doesn't matter particularly. I mean, I know that a lot of people prefer to have it first thing in the morning, but the ideal with anything fermented is that you're kind of incorporating fermented food and drink multiple times a day into your diet. So if you had yogurt with milk kefir in the morning, and then you have, say, you know, some fermented vegetables added into your lunch, and then you want a glass of kombucha either before or after dinner, you know, and you're sort of incorporating it that it's just a normal part of your day. So you're not necessarily, you can't, as I say, lots of people will just drink it a full glass, no problem.
So I would be like
you build
Jude.
up to that. But Glenn,
I
the
bosh
first
everything.
time I gave, he was just, I was going, wait, you know, and he just drank it, and
So for me, I have the coffee kombucha.
we all see the effects, you know, still.
He's sort of like a guinea pig, isn't he? He's like, here, drink that whole thing.
But
Tell me what happens.
It's very much, again, down to personal preference, and, you know, again, the strength of, like that coffee kombucha, you might only want a little shot, you know.
So I typically have the coffee kombucha in my morning chocolate whey protein shake. So it gives it a nice kind of mocha taste to it.
Yeah,
so
that's
I
lovely.
get
Is
that hit.
Is this like normal coffee? Is it caffeinated?
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
just ground coffee. I make it in a big 4 litre jar, and you can just tap it straight off the jar. I bottle it up when it starts to go too far, put it in the fridge, and it helps.
Do you know the way you're saying that you've let it gone too far? What's the normal sort of lifespan of a?
It depends really
kombucha?
on the conditions that are there,
So it depends on like summer,
but
winter.
also on your palate. So like.
True.
That would not be the coffee kombucha I would give to normal folk. You're not normal folk, so
we're built different.
because
John.
it's too. Also, like when you're trying to promote healthy eating and gut health and things to help gut health, if you're giving stuff which is absolutely bogging, no one's gonna take it. So that's why I say the water kefir is the gateway drug to fermented drinks. But have another.
What's this
Yeah,
one?
this one's ginger.
Oh, nice.
Gonna cleanse
So
your
it's
palate.
nice.
A kick to it, won't it?
Ginger bug, is that a ginger bug or am I thinking?
No, ginger bug is where you make, you keep on feeding a solution of sugar and water basically to ginger, and you have to keep on adding the sugar, and then it becomes fermented ginger. But then, yeah, I could add that to a kombucha, but also you can make your own like ginger beer, you know, and
really nice.
so
really,
that's
really
a nice,
good.
again, you know, thinking about times of year for me.
That'd be nice winter time.
Exactly, yeah, a
That's
nice
lovely.
little warming. So you can either.
Yeah, alcohol to, like.
Oh yeah, I mean,
this would be nice.
They're good in cocktails.
I mean,
that
I
beer.
love a mojito, so that berry water kefir is
Oh,
quite
perfect
nice.
for
You know,
that. Yeah,
add
yeah.
that into the mojito.
Is ginger not in like a dark and stormy?
Yes,
is,
yeah.
Isn't it? It's just a.
That's
I tasted
kinda-
that. I was like, that's
aye,
a dark
it's
and
nice.
stormy taste in there.
So
I
You
love
can
it.
either do
Jude's
that-
just in the corner going,
I just love
well,
it.
that's good.
I'm like, could you pickle stuff with it?
well, so that's the thing as well, is that it does become eventually it will become vinegar. Yeah. So you could, in theory, then use it for pickling, and also
So it'd be a flavoured vinegar, would it?
yeah, and then you can also use like kombucha vinegar to make something called, well, it's similar. It's called fire cider. So traditionally, you'd use apple cider vinegar, like raw apple cider vinegar, and you have it in your jar, and you would add like lemons and oranges and different herbs, rosemary, thyme, garlic,
That makes
and
a
then
cider.
onion. So, well, it's not a cider. It's like a tonic, I suppose.
Is
So
it for
you
bowels?
leave
No,
that.
is it to help bowels?
Well, apple cider vinegar is
Yeah.
generally known for being good for lots of things, but your digestion. But with this, you infuse it with like the chili, sometimes horseradish. It's very difficult to get hold of here, and then you set it you leave it in the apple cider vinegar for say like a week or two, and really that just infuses. And then it is just this really potent shot
We do it like shots. So if there's a cold going around, we'll hit the fire cider. And if anyone, so the kids just will try not to show any kind of sniffles because they know they're going to get the fire. But it's pokey as hell, and you have to sort of just neck
Get
it.
it,
Like,
Danny.
it's like I can't feel it
it's
in
sort
your
of that
nose.
where you feel like the steam will probably
Everyone goes
shoot
bright
out of your,
red, and
but you can adjust the quantities. It's on, if you're interested, we have a blog on the website. We Are Wild. It's we-r-wild.life, and there's different recipes for all of this on the blog. So. Yeah, the fire cider is one that, I mean, it can be too strong for some people, and they like to maybe just mix it with a bit of like warm water, you know. But with all of this, you don't want to heat it, because if it's hot, if you've heated it, you've killed off that good bacteria.
That's essentially pasteurising, isn't it?
Yeah.
go on, last one then. So this one is
This is completely different, this one.
different. And it's well, try it.
So this is beetroot and ginger,
So
but it's a very salty, it's called kvass.
Is there a reason this is the last one? No?
I know, we're just going with...
Oh yeah, it does have a real beetrooty smell.
So it's
Nice.
beet.
and the
beet
colour of it
ginger.
is like it's deep.
John is looking less
I
keen.
haven't had beetroot in a long time.
It's good. It's
Just you can take-
I actually I used to eat them when I was younger out of the jar, and I used to. They were very
How old
vinegary.
are
That
you?
has a slightly more vinegary.
It's got a bit more fizz as well.
Slightly.
Oh, it's not as bitter as I
Nice.
thought it was going to be. It's not bitter at all, actually.
So
Earthy.
this is produced by fermenting beetroot and ginger in salt water, and you let it do its thing, the fermentation, and then you can basically you drink. It's like a beet and ginger shot.
How long would that take?
So with all of these, it depends. As Glenn was saying, it does depend on the
taste.
temperature. Well, by and large, it mainly depends on the temperature in wherever you're fermenting. So during the summer, if it's warm, that would be fermented in about a week to sometimes I would leave it for 2 weeks. It might be a slower process than in the winter, so I could leave that sitting for 3 to 4 weeks. So I then would separate off the beetroot. I add another salt water solution to that, or salt water.
So it keeps, you can reuse it and reuse it?
You can reuse it and it will re-ferment, but I actually love eating the beetroot as well, like the fermented beetroot.
What's that like?
It's just it's crunchy. It's crunchy, but you just still got a lovely flavour to it. So I feel kind of validated recently, because I was doing a workshop there and I had met 3 lovely women. They were Polish, a woman from Moldova, and a woman from Ukraine, and they came along and tasted all of these different things, and it was actually really emotional, because they really got a sort of, I suppose, this sense of home,
back to home,
sense of familiarity. And although the beetroot and ginger, they would make it, we were talking about different techniques, different ways of making it, but essentially the vegetables and the drinks gave them, that's what they grew up on, drinking and eat. That's so normal in other cultures, just not in ours.
Yeah, different nationalities is crazy.
And it was so nice, because we just stood there and I just watched them all, sort of this sense of familiarity. Yeah,
nostalgia probably as well,
yeah. So that's what I love, to go to events where I just give out tastes and see how people
see the reactions.
Yeah.
Well, and they're obviously the main kind of fermented thing you'd see here in Ireland would be the buttermilk.
Yes.
But there are other things. What's it called? Soan, which is like a fermented oat drink.
Well,
Never heard
And
of
then
that
there's
It's a fermented porridge.
Yeah.
It's actually porridge. Yeah, from
and
long
there's
time ago.
I read about recently something we used to refer to as banja klaba, which is like a soured milk.
cheese is kind of, is it fermented?
Yeah, cheese, beer, obviously wine. It's all fermented. So
It's
it all
just
counts.
all different types of different processes. Yeah.
Good.
I love it. Really.
So and the beetroot's great. Beetroot's very kind of on vogue at the moment for sports people, for aiding recovery.
I love roasting it.
None of you are getting any
it's
younger.
good.
It's
Yeah.
good for promoting the blood flow to important areas.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want another shot?
How important?
Get further, another shot.
How important?
Exactly.
But this is the thing about it's the variety
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
amazing.
It's like we've bought you some vegetables, some fermented vegetables to try as well, because
Lovely.
I maintain used to run grow your own gardening, organic gardening workshops, and you'd have some people that say, "Oh no, I don't like vegetables," and it's like, but there's so much variety.
Yeah,
and
that's a strange
yeah.
it's a strange thing to say. It's
So-
because they've had boiled whatever.
Well, to be and that's
all
it.
year.
Or turkey dinosaurs
Yeah. Oh, that's it.
all their life. like.
John's a big fan.
John's got some fermented.
I had-
dinosaurs.
Nutritious dinners growing up, actually. I liked turkey dinosaurs as well, that's all. I'll have you know.
But it just increases that sense of awareness about what we're eating, and there is a process into with fermenting as well, and we talk a lot about mindfulness with food, eating, and creating meals and being aware of where our food comes from, and that all ties in, so fermenting, it is, once you know how, it's straightforward, and and I mean, if I can do it,
I'd love to get into it.
it's brilliant. I mean, it's just so lovely to try something like that, and then, if it works, and sometimes it doesn't, and that's a really important thing as well, that it might not, and that's okay,
But so many of us, we the big part of what we try to do at Wildlife is reconnect people. So a big thing we talk about is reconnecting to nature, but and nature, the wild, that's also part of our food history. But we are so detached from our bodies. We're so detached from our food. You know, we have a lot of food shame, a lot of body shaming. We have, a lot of us have, and myself included for a very long time, a bad relationship with food. And so one of the things that we really try and promote is this idea of the slow food culture. So when you look up slow food, there's various different kind of examples for it. But for us, it's very much getting to the root of it. So, you know, it could be like hunting and fishing. It could be growing your own. It could be actually preparing your own meals. It could be going and having a relationship with a shop owner who can give you advice on which vegetables are good for what. You know, it's reconnecting to real food. And it's like getting in, being tactile with it, picking it up, touching it, cutting it, trying things, being okay with the fact that you've messed it all up. Because that's a wonderful thing. Because if it always works first time and then it doesn't work, you don't know what you did wrong because you don't know what you did right, kind of thing. So all these things like the fermented food, things like the wild food foraging, they're a way of connecting people back to their food because it's all part of our story as a species. And with modern conveniences, we've kind of lost that connection. And I think there's healing in reconnecting that. And
no matter what the level.
Yeah, literally. And this is the problem with social media, whether it's how you exercise, what your physique looks like, what you're cooking, your productivity, your mindset, whatever. Everyone looks like they're killing it. And it's not, you know, social media is a funhouse mirror. It's not a true representation of what we're looking at. And it looks like everyone's got their shit dialed in, and therefore we all feel like we're failing. And it's like, no, we don't care about perfection, an ideal. It's not something that really exists. It's something to aim for. But if we can make one little tiny improvement, then we're moving the needle in the right direction. And progress is progress, relentless forward progress. Doesn't matter how slow it is. And sometimes we have to take a couple of steps back before we can leap forward. And that's okay. And that's why we think we need to reconnect to these traditional ways of interacting with the food, with our environment, with each other. Because again, there's healing in that. And it's very much part of a whole story. It's not one thing. So it all interconnects.
As I was saying as well, like I'm big on community gardens, big on that, and the social connection that you get, you know, growing some food is almost the byproduct of what else happens, and it's the magic that happens between people in that space where you're just there and you're working and learning together. And if it goes wrong, like Glenn was saying, it doesn't matter. But at the same time, all of those conversations that can happen over your spuds or whatever, and actually can go much deeper than if you were sitting face to face in a room.
Well, you witnessed it, two middle-aged men who, you know, and as men, we don't share as much as we should. We find it difficult to kind of open up and talk. And it was, you know, two men either side of the bed talking about trauma and people that they'd lost and stuff like that. Because this is why I love going up the mountains, because you're side by side. We're not face to face on. Men typically don't do well on his face, but side by side doing something together, that is where we're able to open up. And so things like gardening is brilliant. Also incredibly good for your gut health as well.
Very good. And that's the thing as well. If you were to look at our garden at the moment, it is not in any shape. It's not perfect at all.
So what do you grow in your garden then?
Well, at the minute we've got squash, courgette. I dug up the spuds there.
What type of spuds were they?
They were, what were they called? Desiree. I think they were Desiree ones, which they were lovely.
Are they nice?
Very nice. Good, yeah. But I am one of those that it's just like whatever I can get. I'm not a very neat gardener. If I go out and I've got 10 minutes on my lunch break, I'll go out and just chuck a load of seeds and then see what comes up. You know, that's I do sow seeds earlier in the year as well, but I also we've got beetroot, cabbage, but like that's only because, you know, we've been able to put a bit more time into it this year. Not as much as I would have liked, but life for us for the past few years has been a lot more challenging, and we haven't been able to. And so life, again, this is everything that we're talking about. You've got to take it as it comes. If you can pop a couple of seeds in or buy some seedlings, if you know, from the garden centre, and pop them in a pot and grow, there is something really satisfying about it. And it doesn't have to be perfect. So.
Just all the stuff you've mentioned here, I'm thinking to myself, you guys are obviously an amazing example of this bringing this to life again more and more. How can someone tomorrow begin, even in a small step? Like what would you say if you were chatting to even us right now? Me, for example, I've nothing to do with fermenting. I've no plants of some weeds out back in my garden. Like there's nothing nice or nothing edible. How could I start? You know, what could I start? Very small steps.
First of all, I would say you almost definitely have something edible in your back garden. and you 100% have something nice in your back garden. So again, it's about connection. So one of the nicest things is just and the fact you have a garden is a privilege. Mm-hmm. And what is growing there? So one of the things to do would be to have a look at the plants. You could use your phone, you can take a photo of something, use the Google Lens. It doesn't always get it right, but it sometimes will tell you what that plant is. So now you've got a name for a plant. Now you know this plant. Now you're going to start seeing this plant everywhere. Mm-hmm. Then you can look, does this plant have any uses? The answer is always yes. Might not be always yes.
Like if I see that's
every
a
single plant, nature doesn't make mistakes. Okay. A mistake in nature lasts a single generation and then it's gone. Okay. So it has a use. Doesn't mean you can eat it. Yeah. But it has a use, and it might not be used for you. Okay. But it has a purpose. But a lot of these plants will be edible. Now, obviously, some plants will kill you dead. Yeah. And so you want to have pay a bit of attention to that. Don't munch on a hunch, as we say. Yeah. So unless you're 100% sure you know what it is, don't stick it in your gob. Okay. But that's just a nice way of doing it. But then it could be just having a plant pot. It could be a herb that you're going to grow indoors on your windowsill, that you're going to add a little bit, some rosemary, some basil, whatever it is. You can buy them in the supermarket. Yeah. And that's you connecting to a plant that is growing with its roots in the soil. And, you know, the smell of a freshly picked herb is so much more intense than when you buy it in a shop, so much more intense than obviously dried herbs. And then the flavour you're getting all those sugars that haven't broken down yet, which is what they do over time. So that is just a really simple way of adding to it.
And you could kind of then, if you say had one herb, it's like, right, well, what recipes, you know, we've got the internet, like, it's just to be able to just go, oh, right, coriander or basil. Basil is just lovely at the moment, and coriander. It's right, what can I make with this herb? I'm going to learn one new recipe. Say again?
You could just throw coriander on top of everything. It makes it look nice.
Oh, no. It's a lovely garnish.
It is, isn't it?
If you're in a restaurant and then you get coriander, you know, fancy. But, yeah, just, again, if you learn one new recipe and say, you know, okay, right, this I'm going to learn this until I don't have to read it from the book. So it's going to become one new thing that I make. And like Glenn said, even for growing in a container, and if you want to, you can grow peas. Peas are a lovely one for kids as well. Yeah. And like our kids, you know, we couldn't get them to ever eat garden peas unless they took them off the plant.
Sweet,
you know, and it was just and again, I think it's so important for kids to see this, you know, in whatever way you can,
where your food's coming from.
It grows, it's a seed, and you plant it, and then the amazing thing is that it produces its own seeds to reproduce, and you can save those seeds, and the whole thing is just fascinating, really. But yeah, kids are great because they at a young age they sort of absorb that, you know, and even all the bright colours of vegetables, and there's a lot now in schools. It's brilliant because they're really recognising this and taking it on, and it's sort of incorporating that healthy eating. But yeah, so
the trick is always to start small. So this is what people often struggle with, is because, again, social media, everyone's garden looks amazing. Whatever they're producing, you know, onions the size of a baby's head kind of thing. And so everyone thinks they have to do everything all at once. And it's the same for any kind of new behavior or habit that you're trying to build, new practice that you're trying to build. You want to make it as easy as possible, because the easier it is, the more likely you are to do it, the more likely you are to succeed. And that success is a fruit in its own right, is a crop that you harvest, and you know, then it grows bigger and bigger and bigger. But when you start to try and do everything all at once and you fail, it's just like, oh, I failed again. Oh, I'm such a loser.
James Clear, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's those atomic habits, these tiny micro habits that coalesce and aggregate together to make much, much bigger changes. And that's the trick, is to do something so easy that's almost impossible to fail. But also, if you do fail, because you will, that's good. So there is no real failure. There's success or lessons to learn. Yeah, it's
a good segue, actually. I have some questions here. 2 seconds. Did I even bother this mic a wee bit? It just keeps falling. Do we know?
Just sort it out.
Sorry, you did the short straw today. I usually give that
Is that the dodgy one?
I usually give that to Fergal.
Just so everybody knows, that's the dodgy one. I'm not being rude to Jude.
It's just...
You did sound a wee bit rude.
I was trying to...
We'll fall.
That's We're good.
Sorry,
we're back in the room. We're back there. I actually had gut questions there, but now the way you were talking about it there was just amazing. So I'm not asking these questions. They're absolutely... they'd be insulting to ask.
Well,
and I feel terrible. I'm not.
But when you have a taste of the vegetables, we can kind of circle back round to it.
That's a good idea.
What is going on in my guts right now?
Not even going to. But we're definitely going to come back to the gut stuff as well, because I have loads of stuff I want to chat about in it as well. You mentioned habits there, Glenn. So if a wee, like, it's sort of like not really a quiz, like, but to help with the conversation, even though the conversation's going fantastic anyway. So morning style, you know, the habit. Are you an early riser or are you a night owl?
Me personally, I'd be early to bed, late to rise if I could.
Basically,
I like bed. Bed's nice.
I'd like that as well.
What I would like to be would be early to bed, early to rise.
Early to bed, early to rise.
And
what's early to bed? What time?
See, it's changed now, because now we're at the other end of parenting.
Yes.
So we have...
Not really at the other end. We still will be parents
Oh,
for quite a good while.
We've disowned make your own breakfast.
Just to say...
We have 2 children for rent, if anyone. Our children aren't really children anymore. They're adults.
Self-sufficient.
17 and 19.
They're self-sufficient.
So, whereas even a couple of years ago, we would have been going to bed at like 9:30, 10 o'clock, and then getting up at 6, whatever. Our kids stay up later, and uniquely, I think, and luckily for us, our kids actually like being with us. So they often want to, spend the evening with us, and because they're up, then we're up. We do send them away now because they will stay up far later than we will.
Well, Glenn says to me, how did it happen that we go to bed before our kids?
Our kids tuck us in now.
That's the dream, though.
But
Yeah.
so I don't know. We'd kind of be lights off by 11.
Yeah, pretty much. And then try to set the alarm for about
difficulty
6:30.
Here compared to where we grew up. In the summertime,
It's far brighter.
it's so bright. It's,
Far
like, it's
brighter.
almost like 2 hours more
It is,
daylight
yeah.
than where
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
from.
Crazy.
And so, midsummer, it doesn't really properly get dark, and the sun is up at 4 o'clock. It's like, it's crazy time. I love the winter time. I love those. I love the fact that it's dark at like 3:30.
Really?
Oh, I love it.
But you can't get runs in. You can't do anything.
Oh, I love running in the dark.
Head torch.
Head
He
torch
goes
in the
off,
woods.
yeah,
You're
through
a
the woods.
It makes me feel like I'm going really, really fast, and I'm not.
What if someone was looking at the light?
Yeah,
would see
no,
it?
I love it. I used to do when we lived on the nature reserve. I used to do a full moon run, and I'd invite people to come up, and we'd go. If the sky was clear, you didn't even need
that'd
head
be
torches, and you're just running through the
In the winter time or summertime?
in the winter time because it's just
That'd
not
be beautiful.
It's not
Yeah.
dark, but it's no. I love night running, and I think I don't see anybody. I don't like people, so it's kind of handy in that respect.
I had to train myself to run with a head torch on. It is there's a knack to it. There's a
It's like you're in a little bubble
Aye.
of light
I don't
flying
like that.
around. I feel like a will-o'-the-wisp or something.
because every so
Freaks
often you're
me
running,
out.
you're like, what's
Yeah, I would be like that.
See,
right, that's what you would see with my head torch the whole time. So
Yeah.
then I'd fall.
years and years ago, when I used to run like bushcraft and wilderness courses in the woods, I was checking out a new woodland somewhere just by myself, and I found a camp, and I found where we were going to put the camp for the course. And so I made the camp by myself, and I had a little fire going. I was cooking my dinner, and I had a candle on a little bit of bark on a split stick. I was reading my book, my axe against me, and I suddenly realised if any kid, when I was a kid, camping in the New Forest in Hampshire, massive 100-kilometre wide forest, we used to sneak out of our tents and meet up in the woods, and always the conversation would go to, what if an axeman turned up now? And then somebody go, they'd be mad to be outside. It's the mad axeman, they're the worst kind. And I realised if a kid had come into that woods then and seen me with my axe, I was the mad axeman, and it was the most liberating thing to realise that I was the scariest thing in the forest.
You've turned into
Yeah.
your
So
childhood fear.
I don't mind that. And the best one is if you run at night through the woods and you listen to something like, have you ever used the zombie run?
That sounds terrible.
It's a running app. So it's a story where you're a runner and you have to find stuff. And but every now and then zombies are chasing you, so you get all the noise. Oh, if the zombies coming
You know,
behind
that
you,
sounds like
you
a
have to pick
nightmare.
up the speed.
That
And
sounds
stuff.
like a fucking nightmare.
That's yeah. So
I hate zombie
That's
films.
nuts. Do you?
I hate them.
You didn't watch 30.
They don't scare me. They just, I don't know.
You watched 28 Years Later, did you?
No.
Did you?
not yet.
Not yet.
Fantastic.
Did you like it?
Is it good?
I thought it was mad.
Loved it.
It's a mental film. Apparently, someone was filmed in it with their phone or something like that. I heard.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was filmed on an iPhone.
Nuts.
Right back
So we were talking about
was the
early
question?
rises and what time.
We got into a zombie and an axeman. So, in terms of habits and routines and stuff, if you were to give advice, when would be the best time to maybe plan your habits around that side of things?
So morning often is a good. It depends on the habit, obviously. But a lot of habits are kind of handy to do. If you can get up a little bit earlier, if you can get up before the rest of your household, then it gives you just free time, uninterrupted time to do stuff. But again, you'd start really small. So if it's meditation, it could be 2 minutes of breath work, 5 minutes of breath work. Journaling is really important for me. So I used to have a thing where it was like I had to write, as long as I wrote a single page, A4 page, that was me done. It could be anything, didn't really matter. But it could be just a sentence. It's just the whatever it is, you want to make it as easy to do as possible, because you're more likely to do it. Because what you're really doing, and this is what people don't realize when they try and build big habits. The real habit that you're building is the habit of showing up for yourself. So every time you do a new behavior, a new practice, whatever it is, and you do it consistently, multiple days in a row, each time you do it, you're casting another vote for yourself. And so it's the habit of turning up for yourself. So you're showing yourself, I can do this. Because essentially, it's all about consistency. But also meet yourself where you are, being kind of honouring the fact that shit happens and you miss a day. And for me, it would always be like, okay, if I ate something that I didn't want to eat, the day's ruined. So I might as well order a pizza and whatever. That was a Monday, so the week's ruined. So I'll start again next week.
Pizza every night.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And that's nonsense. So you're only ever one meal, one workout, one practice away from being back on track. So honouring the fact that that happened, that's fine, and it's going to happen, and being okay with that, and then getting back on track. So mornings are good because you've got less filling your head. Also, there's this idea of attention fatigue. Our attention gets pulled various other ways. There's also kind of willpower fatigue. Willpower is kind of, it's like the glycogen in your muscles. The more you use it, the more you deplete it. So we don't want to rely on that too much. But early in the morning is a good time to do that. But making it simple means we don't have to rely on willpower too much. And then the idea of it becoming a discipline more than needing motivation and willpower. And for me, for years, I poo-pooed discipline. Discipline was for idiots and the military. I was a maverick. I was, a free spirit. You can't tell me what to do. You're not my dad. And I'll just, I'll go where the wind blows me, kind of thing. And so as a result, I had no habits whatsoever. I had no discipline of anything. And I remember one job I had, the boss invited me in and basically told me, Glenn, you're a troublemaker and a maverick. And I smiled and said, thank you. And she said, it's not a compliment. But for me, it was like getting a pay rise and a promotion all in one go. But when I did become more disciplined, and it was simply the fact of thinking, okay, I'm going to write this out and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to get up at 6. I'm going to have my electrolyte drink. I'm then going to meditate for X amount of minutes. I'm then going to put the kettle on for my coffee and I'm going to do my mobility work. And then I'm going to journal. And I put down which times it was going to be. I actually scheduled it in and kept it nice and simple. And suddenly it was like, oh, this is actually doable. Because when you don't have that, you're just clutching at straws. You're trying to grab mist. So I made it real. And therefore, then I realised that actually discipline does lead to freedom because I'm not chasing my tail trying to get this stuff in. It's just done and dusted, and that gives me the whole rest of the day to do whatever.
But it doesn't have to just be the morning.
No.
So in the programme, so we run a free 14-day habit formation programme. It's called Ember, and it's on the website. I keep plugging it, don't I? And,
well done.
Thank you. And so that we talk about the science of habits and how just understanding about habit formation, but also one thing we talk about is habit stacking. So it's like, what do you do already? And one thing that a lot of people do is put the kettle on at different points in the day. So we say you want to move more. Well, what are you going to, you can just, and again, we talk about nutritious movement snacks. So it's not that, so it's just making sure that, say you put the kettle on, right, well, I'm going to do a 2-minute mobility thing, or I'm going to do some squats or whatever you want to do, but it's stacking it onto something that you already do in your day. And actually, there's quite a lot of things that, if you're brushing your teeth or even if you're watching telly, do something, move a bit whilst watching telly, those kinds. So it's useful when you start to think of the habits that you already have in your day-to-day life. And obviously that fluctuates and changes, but it's helpful. I found it much more helpful to sort of add it on. It's like, okay, well, I've put the kettle on, I'm going to do 10 squats or whatever.
It's a great idea. Can I go back to the journaling thing? Because it's something I've wanted to try do, but it's a habit that I haven't formed yet.
Yeah.
I've tried it a couple of times, but like, what are you writing about when you're journaling?
So this is a habit that I have fallen out of recently, and it's one that I'm trying to reintroduce. So I actually put journaling alongside meditation as being a massive game changer to my mental health. So what do I write? I don't know what I'm going to write until I get there.
You just sit and...
So literally, no, so I just write. So for me, it's like, okay, I'm going to write a page. It could be a paragraph, a sentence, whatever boundary, whatever limit you're setting yourself to, or minimum that you're setting yourself to. It doesn't matter what I write, right? I could be writing, I don't know what to write. I don't know what to write. I don't know what to write for the whole page. That never happens. But if I give myself permission to write anything on it, then I'm not building up any kind of barriers or boundaries to actually doing it. Like, oh, I hope I've got something good to write. Because it's like, when people journal, I think you kind of need to get out of the head of like, someone else is going to read this. Because if you think you're writing it for someone else, then there's pressure. And it's like, so some practices, Julia Cameron, who wrote the Artist's Way, so she calls what she calls morning pages, and I think it's like 5 pages, and basically you burn them as soon as you've done them. Now I don't, I have it in a book, and I wondered whether to get rid of the book or to go over it. I'll talk about that in a minute. But the days where I think I have got nothing to write are the days that I finish 20 minutes later and it's like pages long. So it could just be musings, something that happened, thoughts. I talk a lot about my emotional state. I talk a lot about the problems that I'm facing at the moment. Or I could be like, oh, I've just read this book. It's really, really good. It really made me think about this. And just the act of writing that and writing it. And for me, it has to be done with a pen, cursive, because that tactile nature of it allows me to be a lot more free form in what I write. Just the act of like, oh, it made me think about this, suddenly sparks up a whole load of other thoughts. And so I just write it down. The biggest limiter for me with journaling is my hand can't keep up with my thoughts.
Yeah,
but so a way of doing it for, if you like that, is to record yourself on a voice recorder on your phone or whatever, and journal it that way. There's different ways you can journal. You can journal with art. You know, you just do a daily sketch, a daily illustration, daily painting, whatever. You know, contemporary dance, expressive dance.
You'd be great at that.
You would.
That's what I'm known for.
But so anything.
Go to my website, expressivedanceforvirgo.com.
But it's and so I recently had I don't know how long it was, 4+ months of seeing a psychotherapist. Not because I had anything to kind of resolve, plenty of stuff to resolve, but there was no specific thing. But to me, I saw the psychotherapist as the kind of human embodiment of a journal. It allowed me just to verbally regurgitate my brain.
You find that easier to talk to a person rather than journal, or?
Yeah, eventually.
Talk a wee bit.
It was you know, and he hardly said anything. He would occasionally give me some prompts or lead it in a certain way, but you know, again, I'd be like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about today, and then I'd just pick a subject, and then it would suddenly spiral into a whole load of other stuff. And again, I would suddenly have these amazing insights that just cropped up, but that wouldn't have cropped up had I not allowed myself the space to open that up. And then when I have gone back and I actually think it's good to go back and read your old journals, because the interesting thing is those things that were like life-changing events that were happening to me, that were just like problems that were just like, you know, I wanted the ground to open up and swallow me because they were the fear of them all happening. I hadn't even remembered them.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's a really good reminder that these things that feel so overwhelmingly important
at
and
the
whatever,
time when you're writing,
you've forgotten about that like a year, 2 years later. The other thing that was interesting was And it was like, oh my God, I'm banging on about that again. The same thing over and over again. I'd be complaining about months, years later. And it's like, oh, thank God I finally sorted that out. Or actually, I'm still banging on about that. I need to pay this some attention. Yeah. So like journaling, and there's loads of really good sort of pre-made journals that have prompts that are often a good starting point. Again, because I'm a troublemaker and a maverick, I don't like to follow these prompts and whatever, but they can be really, really good. And you know, I've
got a gratitude journal, but it does have prompts, and I suppose at a time I don't necessarily fill it in all the time now, but a few years ago we had my mum living with us, and we were primary carers for her because she had dementia, and so she came into our world, and I had the gratitude journal, and I religiously stuck to filling that in morning and evening, and it felt like I really needed to do that. I sort of knew myself that it was helping in some way, and I think, you know, we talk about this a lot in our workshops. You know, gratitude is huge. It's a huge thing, and you know, it's sort of almost bandied about now, and not necessarily, when you really think about it, like I looked back at that journal, and at the beginning of the day you would write 3 things that you were grateful for, and then the next question was, what would make today great? And on several times I would write, just to get through the day. That was it. Like in my mind, I just could not think of anything apart from just get through the day, you know, survive, basically, that everybody's okay at the end of the day. But then at the end of the day, you had to fill in then sort of a few things that had been good. And I've always managed to find something, you know. So even though I probably started the day with a sense of dread at times, by the end of the day, it was like, well, that was nice, that was good, that worked well, whatever. So it gave me a sense of, you know, we're all right, we're managing this is going all right. Whereas, you know, I think without that, and now that things are more settled for us, I still use it, but I don't use it every day. So it's interesting, you sort of reach for, and like the journaling for you came at a time where, you know, you really needed it.
Yeah,
you know,
like I say, it was my anxiety was just at an all-time high, and it really, really helped. And also, like, you know, I would use gratitude within the journal. I think gratitude is a really good place to start with journaling. It really is. It's a really good practice to have anyway, and it's something that I try to do daily, because depression and anxiety, they're very inward focused conditions. And we, you know, we only focus inside, and when you're focused inside, you can't see a way out, you feel trapped. But when you turn to gratitude, it becomes outward focused. You're looking at all the things around you, outside of you, that you have to be grateful for. And it's not to take away from the pain and the struggle that you're having, because that's important too. But the more you do it, and the more you feel it help you, the more you're actually able to be grateful for the struggles that you're having, and really see that in every crisis there's an opportunity, that in every dark moment there's a learning moment there. And it's and also, you know, the buzzword now is all about mindfulness. You know, be mindful and present. How do you do that? Like, there's lots of ways you can do that. There's lots of lovely ways you can do that, but they're not that accessible to people coming into it first off. But gratitude, as soon as you start saying thank you for something, you're instantly being present, because that gratitude is always there. And
it does something to you too.
It really does. No, so it
changes your mood.
Yeah, so it changes the mood. It's been shown to help with coming out of those anxious or depressive moods.
Yeah.
And it's just really simple, and it's just something. So I always wear a bracelet on my wrist, and this is what I use for my gratitude practice. I have 27 beads on that. The number is irrelevant, but I have 27, and I go around that, and I say for each bead it's something that I'm grateful for, and it could be something for like, oh, I'm really grateful for my funky little fountain pen. It's very cool. But yeah, I'm also grateful for my loving, supportive wife. I'm grateful for the pushback I get from my kids about stuff that make me question, my beliefs. I'm grateful for the struggle that we're going through, because it's putting into perspective what is truly important in our lives. And having a number like 27, I really have to think. I really have to dig deep. Yeah. So I often do that in the sauna, when I'm in the sauna, and go around it and whatever. So, but it's a really good place to start, but it works really well with journaling. Yeah. Even if it's just three things that you're grateful for.
I normally, once a week, I've started doing like morning meetings with other entrepreneurs or solopreneurs. Because I've started practicing a lot of lean practices, and morning meetings one of them, but I can't do it with I've tried to do it by myself, but it's slightly more difficult.
Yeah.
One of the practices is we turn off or whatever the slideshow is, and we say what we're grateful for. Doesn't have to be work related, it can be anything. But I always feel like after those meetings, you're just buzzing for the rest of the day. It's class.
And it's really interesting because we have had some very dark times in the last couple of years. And even in those darkest times, when I just stop, I have to accept that I feel at peace, that I feel content, that I wouldn't change my life for anything, because you kind of realize how much you have to be grateful for.
So much.
And again, it's not to take away from the fact that when you feel pain and you feel suffering, that you don't feel that you should be looking at all the good things you got in your life. No, it's good to feel that pain. It's good to feel that suffering. It's good to acknowledge that, because it's real. Emotions don't, they're there for a reason. But it's when we become completely consumed by those. Gratitude is a way out, is the kind of crack that allows us to break out of that. But
I was going to say there, you were mentioning just family and stuff, and grateful to them. Recently my son, so he's obviously now over a year and a half, and he's more animated. He's talking, he's starting to say names, he's starting to say dada and stuff like that there. And I was just saying, anxiety and depression and stuff. The mornings, it was more, I hated mornings, just getting up and just getting at it. And now I still hate it a wee bit getting up, to be honest. I'm tired in the mornings. But then when I go in and see him, my mood just completely just flips. It just changes. Yeah. Even though I'm about to see him, I know I'm about to see him. I'm just, as soon as I go in, I just see him, and he says good morning, or he's having a bit of a cry or whatever. It just changes the mood completely. So it's kind of it's kind of like that journaling, not the journaling, but that kind of gratitude for me. As soon as I see him, my mood just completely changes.
Children, it's amazing for that, because just that welling that you get when you see them is just so immense. But and that's always there, and it's there's no limit to it. I remember when Kelley was pregnant with our son, our second child, I was actually concerned that I wasn't going to have enough love for my son so much for my daughter. And of course it's completely bottomless well. But that's essentially, that's what gratitude is tapping into that bottomless well that's there.
There was another thing you said there as well, actually. It was a good thing. It was with the journaling, where you mentioned rather than doing whenever you mention journaling and gratefulness in the mornings and journaling, I'm thinking to myself, I need to write a fucking novel here every morning. I am literally thinking like that, and I'm like, I need to have 9 things that I'm going to do today, and I make sure I need to do these. So whenever you casually said there, just one line of text, it kind of gave me a wee bit of I don't know, just a sort of
Makes it easier, doesn't it?
made it easier to think about it. Like I was just like, it made it a wee bit easier for me to think about that. That's possible.
And this
you know,
is
if you know what I mean.
and this is the thing with every single habit that you try to build, every single new behavior that you try and do, any practice that you want to create, it's yours. It's your practice. You might have a goal that you want to go to, but nobody goes into a gym having never lifted a barbell off the ground and deadlifts 300 kilos, apart from Fergal. You start with an empty bar and then you slowly add to it over time, and it's a slow progress. It's the same with anything, whether it's gratitude. Don't start with 27, start with 1, start with 2, 3. We use the 2-minute rule, so we have in our system, we talk about a concept that we call the baseline and the bliss line. So the bliss line is the ideal day. That's when I get up and I do my full morning routine. I then go to the gym, I beat Vogel's deadlift, I'm in the sauna, I come back, I just knock it out of the park.
Love
with
those
work.
days. They're rare.
I get there, I eat just absolutely super clean food. My biceps have increased by 2 inches by the end of the day. I come home, my wife is there, pipe and slippers ready, all that kind of stuff. Everything's perfect. That's the ideal, right?
Yeah.
But the ideal just very rarely happens.
Yeah.
So that's the bliss line. That's what we want. That's what we're aiming towards. Whether we get there or not doesn't matter. The closer we get to it, the more we're improving. But the baseline, that's your minimum effective dose, right? So that's like when everything turns to shit, what is the thing that I can do that even if it doesn't move the needle forward, it stops it from falling back? And even if I'm not progressing physically, I still feel like I got that done. I still won. So that's the thing. You want to find your kind of minimum effective dose. That could be one line of something. So for me, for a while, it was with the mace bell, swinging a mace bell, 100 swings of a mace bell. It could be, whatever, doing 20 push-ups. As long as you got your 20 push-ups done, that's you sorted. You add more stuff on top of that, brilliant. But as long as you get your
Or it
baseline
could just
done.
be, I'm going to have a walk. Because a
Yeah.
lot of people don't.
Yeah,
swing
calm
mace
down there
bells.
with your
Chill out,
mace bar.
Glenn.
Like, I had to turn you off when I seen him do it. I was like, I can't do
It's
that.
like
So it's
minimum effective
They're cool.
like, they are cool.
The reality.
They're cool. Like,
Yeah,
they're cool.
yeah. But that's what I always say, for a lot of people it might be, I'm just going to make sure that I get out for a walk for 10 minutes.
Bit of fresh air, even.
Something,
Like,
yeah.
No, I get that.
10 deep breaths.
Yeah.
Great.
No, it's interesting. It's like whenever meditation's very daunting to people. I've jumped in and out of doing it, but I've never done long periods of I haven't been able to. I don't know if it's like my brain just won't switch off. It switches off whenever it needs me the most.
No one's brain switches off. So, and again, this is, you can no more stop your thoughts than you can stop your heartbeat.
Yeah.
Right. The point is, and again, this is why there's so much shit talked about in the health world, that everyone thinks they need to clear their mind. Right. My mind is like a bag of frogs. It's just popping all over the place. But when you're meditating, when you're focusing on your breath or focusing on a mantra or whatever it is you're doing, or whatever type of meditating you're doing, and suddenly you're thinking about, onions or whatever it is, random thing that you're thinking of, when you realise, just randomly thinking about onions, that point is you being mindful. That is mindfulness.
'Cause you've
when you
picked up on
realise,
something.
I better start going back to counting my breaths or start going back to saying my mantra again. And the more times you realise that your mind's wandered, the more mindful you're being. So there is no way of doing, the only way of doing it wrong is trying to be like a sledgehammer going, no, I'm not going to think about anything. I'm not going to think about anything. This is the thing. It's like it's built in to itself. The more you realise your mind's wandering, the more mindful you are. And eventually, the gaps between the mind wandering will get longer, wider. But again, you don't need to sit there for 20 minutes, half an hour. You can sit there for 5 minutes. Build it up a little bit more, build it up a little bit more. And again, trying to be consistent with it is the best way at getting better at doing anything. If people say to me, what's the best exercise to do for this? It's like, well, which one are you going to do consistently?
Yeah, because
that's going to be the thing that's going to make the biggest difference. It's the same with any kind of mental stuff. It's the same with food. It's the same with anything.
Can we talk about the course and like what areas you are all, because we're everything we're talking about, it's amazing, but I want to know like
the 5 circles.
Yeah, what area? What are the focuses that Ian's kind of?
So we started with the Ember program because we'd run a series of courses before, and they're great and whatever. But what we realised people doing, they were trying to do too much too soon, and therefore, like we said, they feel like they are failing with stuff. And what we realised people didn't understand was just the basic science behind habit formation. So we created the Ember. So it's called Ember because when you're trying to start a fire, you're starting with, the spark, and then you've got the ember, the little glowing coal. If you start chunking on big lumps of wood, it's going to put it out. That's what people do in their habits, in their behaviours. They try to do too much too soon, and it stifles the whole thing. But what you want to do, you want to nurture that ember. You want to get that ember going bright and hot, and then you're adding little bits to it at a time, then bigger bits before you've got a raging fire. So that's why we did that. And because most people are coming to us for health related stuff, it was the Ember program you can use for any kind of habit. It's just literally about habit formation. But most people come to us for health stuff, so that then leads on to the 5 circles program. So these are the 5 things. It's our system, really. And we utilise it in all of the courses that we do. So these are the 5 things that we consider to be vital to create optimal, healthy, happy humans, anti-fragile, resilient humans. And that's food, that's movement, that's sleep quality, it's stress management and community. So the symbol that we use for it is 5 interlocking rings. We got it recently done quite nicely there by a local graphic designer.
Did you actually do it? Right? I didn't know that. I wasn't even trying to
it forms a knot. It's kind of like the flower of life type of shape to it. But the whole reason,
his concept, by the way, I just did it.
the whole reasoning of it is like each of them are vitally important, and when one is missing, the integrity of that shape falls apart. So you need all of it. But it's also important to know that these circles expand and contract. So over time, you'll be killing your sleep, and your food will be brilliant, but your stress management's way up high.
So you're always sort of focused on something, but you're not.
So it's just a way to kind of it's your anchor, really. It's your anchor stone. So you can go back to that and go, okay, how am I doing here? And we've got like a little model that people can put in a score for several different things in each thing, and it will show which circle needs the most attention. But yeah, this encompasses every single part of health, and they're all interlinked. So one thing affects the other. So like if your sleep is bad, your cortisol level is going to be raised up. So you're going to be feeling more stressed. When your cortisol level's raised up, you crave more carbohydrates. So you're looking for more sugary foods. You're actually more likely to store body fat more. Your relationships with people in your community suffer because you're grumpy and you're stealing their biscuits out of the shared kitchen or whatever. All of these things, you're less likely going to move when you haven't been sleeping well. So each of these things is directly influenced by the others, and in turn influenced by that thing. So this is what we build all of our courses around. So and it's multifaceted. Each one is multifaceted. So. And we very much talk about food rather than diet, because diet is a loaded term nowadays. We talk about movement rather than exercise, because exercise is just one very small part of a movement practice. So we talk about people building a movement practice. stress management, and that could come from a whole host of different things. Sleep quality, that's really kind of a lot of that's digging into kind of circadian health. So how our bodies react to the light sources that we're subject to in the 24-hour
Bones
period.
Are you talking about
Yeah.
like different screens and stuff?
Yeah.
Trying
So
to get rid of
the
those?
different types of light. So in here, it's like apart from the spotlights, these lights are perfect for this time of evening. These yellows and orange colours. But
So we encourage people to do a sleep audit where they basically look at the environment that they're spending time in before, going to sleep, and looking at the lights and everything, like how long in terms of screen time, putting different coloured bulbs into the room and
Yeah,
that
I
sort
got
of thing.
these glasses, and my uncle was wearing them. They're like yellow tints for whenever I was working on the screen.
Glenn wears those.
yeah, so sort of yellow for late afternoon, orange for evening. You can even get like ruby red colour for late night. So they all slowly block. So we are photosensitive creatures, like a plant is. So for our ancestors that lived kind of outdoors, when the sun rose, it would be emanating a lot of blue light wavelengths. Blue light goes through the eyelids into the optic nerve, into the brain, the pineal gland, and we're producing things like cortisol, the stress hormone, which wakes us up, gets us ready. We're also starting to produce serotonin, the feel-good hormone, and that's increased when we start to move as well. And so we get all those lovely blue light, and it's really important. Like blue light is like, it's demonized, but we need it. We need it in the morning. It's really important. That serotonin will later in the day be converted into melatonin, the sleep hormone. So as the sun rises, the sun's up in the sky. We've got little sensors in the lower part of our eyes that know that the sun is directly up there. So it's daytime. So keep those sort of upbeat hormones flowing. As the sun dips, those sensors don't register it anymore. And as the sun dips, it turns yellow and then orange and then red. The light that our ancestors would have been candlelight, lamplight, firelight, oranges, yellows, reds. Those colours and that dimmer light and that lower level light, so all of the light would have been low down, that then triggers what they call dim light melatonin onset. So we start to produce melatonin. We convert that serotonin into melatonin. That makes us feel drowsy. And then we would go to sleep and the cycle would repeat. But now we have lights up at high levels, bright lights, white, blue light radiation coming into us from our phones, from the lights, from the screens. And so, you've all felt it, like you've been sitting down for a Netflix binge and you're nodding off. And you might, I switch the light on, that'll wake me up a little bit. And then suddenly you get a second wind and you're able to finish the whole season. That's your body basically saying like, okay, we've given them all of the triggers, all of the cues that you should go to bed. And he's not. Therefore, there must be a threat, a danger around. So now let's pump him full of adrenaline and cortisol just so he can run away from that saber-toothed tiger or whatever it is that's lurking in the bushes. And therefore, you then start to lose that good cycle, that 24-hour cycle. And some people can completely flip it. So they start producing cortisol in the evening time. And so you get that kind of tired but wired aspect.
Sounds like my evenings, yeah.
So yeah, and add into that, small children, and that throws it out again. But these are things that if we're not aware of it, we can't do things to help. So it would be like, okay, go for the orange colour bulbs in the evening. Have the light at a lower level.
Are there some people that are just more prone to staying up later? Is that
I think there are different types of people that are, the classic night owl type of person. Absolutely.
Because I'm not that person.
No, I'm not. I'm
It
not.
depends on your age.
It does, yeah.
We would have stayed up much later when we were.
But I think, on an evolutionary point of view, it made sense to have some of those people in the tribe.
Yeah,
who
that's
are
true.
Up and keeping on, because you're basically unconscious for 8 hours, for a third of your day, for a third of your life.
My
That's
fiance
opening up for
she makes fun of me for every evening. It's like, I think I'm going to go to bed. Like I say it like that, and now she's mocking me, going, I think I'm going to go to bed. Teasing me about it, but yeah, she's definitely a night owl person. Like she can stay up all night, and I'm like, as soon as it's like 10:30, I start.
Yeah.
I'm the exact same. Like,
I'm gone.
I'm like, I hang on to bed here, and Clay's like, oh, we're going to watch wee thing. No, I want to go to bed. I want to go to bed. Let me go to bed.
Let me sleep.
She's like, oh, you're not making a cup of tea. No, I want to go to bed. And I'm like, all right, I'll make a cup of tea. That's right. And then I'll have a cup of tea too. That's okay. And then it's too late.
But
it's very late.
It's because she's, well, you probably have experienced this as well, because she's a nurse. She like sometimes will work like weekends, and then her weekends become, you know, Monday, Tuesday,
Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
It's so hard because nobody has the same routine.
No.
You know, whereas like back when you're, you know, talking about tribal, back then there was a routine sort of pretty, you know, it wasn't that now.
The sun and the moon
decided that.
And there's a
rhythm to life.
What they call the 3-day effect. So if you go out camping, you know, in the backcountry, by 3 days there's a dramatic change. That's all it takes is to get back into that natural
change in
thing.
you.
Because like I remember taking groups. It's winter, November time, and I think we were going up in Snowdonia, leading a navigation course, and we a little wild camp halfway up the mountain, and it's dark at like 5, and so you pitch your tents, you have some dinner. It's like 8 o'clock. It's like, right, night then, and you just go to bed. But just 3 days of that, none of that artificial light coming in. You're out in the open. You're getting all of the benefits of the chemicals that are in the plants and whatever, the lovely mountain breeze, whatever.
By the third day,
by
you're
the
like,
third day,
fuck,
it's like you're back into that kind of natural rhythm that we're designed for. And then, you know, so thinking of your wife, you know, shift work is an awful thing. Like,
I think it's one of the worst things you could ever do.
I think so.
The
Yeah.
body
So shift work is, I think, classed by, I might have this wrong, you can fact check it, but classed by the World Health Authority as a either possible or probable carcinogen.
A what?
Yeah.
Possible carcinogen.
Heard this.
Oh yes, I've heard that too.
For female nurses, they're at far greater risk of things like breast cancer from shift work. Now, obviously, in jobs like that, you can't say, okay, everyone finishes at 5. Good luck, everyone in the ward. They have to do that. But what should happen, and again, I don't know how it can happen, but that they would do it, you know, 2 nights of night shift, 3 nights of night shift, whatever, and then they wouldn't do a night shift for another 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's often weekly for them. But, you know, and then in a hospital, it's all bright, strip lighting everywhere.
Yeah,
so you haven't even got those. I did a short stint at the hospital here, and they all were like looking at me with my orange specs on as I'm wandering around. Like, what's this guy doing? He's escaped from one of the wards. But yeah, it's you know. But there are things that you can do to mitigate the health issues of poor sleep or poor light quality.
Tell me this. I've been the whole time. I've just been thinking everything you've been talking about, and it links back to wildlife and ancestors. Hey, why weren't we taught any of this stuff at school? Like, you know, the primal side of everything. You know, because you mentioned the food, and then you mentioned the sleep and the movement and all those sort of things. I know there's a very. It sounds like it's just a very basic level we've been told of all this, but we've never really been taught the way you've sort of discussed it and explained it there today about how it all links and how, you know, sleep and obviously movement, you know, all those sorts of things that our ancestors used to do for so many years, and we've only really been doing it for a small time compared to them, I suppose.
I mean, I think the model of education that we have, that we're talking about, was designed for just producing factory workers, wasn't it? So not to say that, you know, won't go down that rabbit hole in
Don't
terms
open
of.
this can of-
I was going to say, best not to
We have
get
a few times
started
on this
that.
podcast, actually, so it's okay.
Yeah, so there's so many things that I think have been forgotten, and certainly, like I was saying, in terms of schools now, the bringing in of food and gardens, and even outdoor, just being outdoors and learning outdoors, is being more recognised now. So yeah, hopefully. And I mean, like when we were younger, we were outside of school. We were outside a lot more, you know. Not to say that we were being taught this stuff, but we were certainly, you know, depending on where you grew up, but you were outside. We both grew up on housing estates, but, you know.
Computers and iPads and phones.
Yeah, so, you know, it's a different world, but, I do, yeah, so I just think now, and certainly with 5 Circles and the work that we're doing, it's just, you can use all of the work, you know, reconnection, reminding, and just sort of going back into trying to create some sort of rhythm, connection to nature, whatever it is, you know, moving more, but just an awareness around this stuff, because yeah, we just weren't taught it.
So I think it's you got to appreciate the fact that we've had this exponential growth in technology. Mm-hmm. So like Kelley and I met the year that Google came out. Right?
30 years ago this year.
The internet it didn't exist. Like, you know, a couple of years before going to university, all the screens were green screen. You had a telex machine.
What?
A telex machine. It was the early kind of forerunner to the internet, to sending email.
Right, okay.
Used the phone line to send it.
Or pigeon.
But so like, we grew up in an age where, you know, not everybody had a phone in the house. Yeah. If you rang your mate, you had to ring a phone box, and you'd arrange to meet. He was going to be there at the time, and you're ringing, and he's not there. Yes. And then some random bloke answers the phone, and you're like, "Hello, is Dave there? Who's Dave? Oh, would you mind going to number 72 and asking for Dave?" And he'd knock on the door and say, "Oh, there's a phone call for Dave." Dave, oh God, yeah. And you'd have this conversation. You know, it sounds mad, doesn't it?
Does
but like
mad, yeah.
that. We're not that old, but like
in our
parents' generation were much more doing a lot of the things that our ancestors did. Our grandparents a little bit more. A generation or two before that, there wasn't a huge amount of difference. Food was very basic. They were out physically moving a lot more because they had to. And what's happened is we've had this comfort creep. So we've tried to make life as more comfortable for us as possible. Right, and that has had devastating effects for us. So for our ancestors, our hunter-gatherer ancestors, they were trying to avoid discomfort. And discomfort for them was being eaten alive, freezing to death, or starving to death.
Survival.
Everything else they did was to avoid that discomfort. They were out hunting, they were out foraging, they were building shelters, they were lighting fires by rubbing sticks together. Now we view all of those things as discomfort because freezing to death, starving to death, and being eaten alive are less of a problem for us in this part of the world. So, you know, the notion of exercising is at complete odds to our genetics. Like, it's a ridiculous thing. If you said to our ancestors, "Can you pick that rock up?" Yeah. "Oh, put it down." Yeah. "Can you do it again?" "Why?" Or pick it up, where do you want it? "Oh, just put it where you just got it." "You want me to lift that 10 times? Why? We're designed to move as little as possible and eat as much as we can because energy was what kept us alive. So all of these things we're still Stone Age people living in a space age world. Our DNA is beautifully, our genes and our biology is beautifully designed to make us an absolutely amazing species. We've gone over every single part of the world, and it's our adaptability that allows us to do that. But now with this comfort creep, we've lost that adaptability. And we are now kind of, our biology, our genes, they're exactly the same as they were, but now they're at odds with the environment that we're living in. So it's not to say that we need to dress in furs and go and live in the woods, but I am up for it if you boys are.
I'd love to.
But just taking some of that understanding and using it in the modern age. So incorporating more movement rather than just exercise. Incorporating variety of food. Vitamin V, we call it. Like very few number of species of plants. Increasing that will help to us. Focusing on nutrient density rather than worrying about the calories. Calories have their place, but nutrient density is much more impactful for most people. These things are they've kind of been forgotten with the ever increasing comforts and technologies that we've got that have taken us out. You look around here, lovely old cottages that are just ruins, and then a big like footballer's house next to it, because they're seen as poor people's houses. That was what people had to live in during the famine when they were kicked off of their land by landowners and whatever. And they had these little tiny houses with 13 kids growing up in them. You don't want to go back to that. You want a big house with electric gates, because that's a sign of, equally, nettles. That's what people ate when they were starving. Why would you eat that now when you've got, whatever it is? But it's becoming remembered again. So, we've got, the discipline of ethnobotany, looking at how plants are used by humans. Ethnopharmacology. This is like looking at folk remedies, folk traditions, and actually saying, do they actually have any kind of medicinal, pharmaceutical relevance now? And the answer is often yes. These plants that people say, oh, it's good for this. Oh, that's a folk, that's old wives' tale.
Different cures.
Actually, no, it's completely right. It's got this compound and this does this. This holy well that people would go to cure madness. Is there anything in that? And there's a beautiful, I think it's Tobin and Yelt, the well of madness, and they found that the water quality is got loads of lithium in, natural forming lithium. Lithium's used to treat a lot of mental health, bipolar disorder and stuff like that. And they know that people that live in areas with high lithium content in their water tend to have typically lower levels of depression and anxiety. So our ancestors knew this. Mm-hmm. They were because they were connected to it, they knew it. So there is this new remembering happening now, this relearning of these, because it is hardwired in our system. So it's there. Yeah. Like, we have to trust our bodies. We have to trust our biology, our DNA, because it knows stuff that we've forgotten. So, that's why reconnecting to some of these old traditions, these varieties of plants, by foraging, whatever, is healing in a very holistic term.
And we all know that mental health issues are just on the rise, as well. And so there's something in that. Why? What's actually happening? And this is being discussed, it's being researched. Young people, children are struggling with their mental health. So there's got to be something in this that, we're talking about. And I think that is being largely recognised, that something has to change. It just has to. There's always going to be resistance to stuff because of money.
Big consumers and corporate greed.
Totally. I mean, we know this. This is, the world is mad at the moment. And I think that's more of a reason to go, right, what can I do? What do I need to help myself get through this? And because if you were looking at the news all the time and you're looking out there, you just think, well, it's become so serious. And as I said, it's just, we see it, everybody's seen it in our own families. The struggles with mental health. And I just think that, getting back to those, like we said, it's the 5 circles. And a lot of what we talk about on that programme is being compassionate with yourself, giving yourself a break. So incorporating a health practice and moving more and sleeping better and all of these things. But actually just recognising that you need to be compassionate with yourself in this world that we're living in, because it's tough. It's tough going, and
that's often the hardest lesson that people can take from it, because we're all about meeting yourself where you're at. Don't try and meet yourself up here, because again, you're not there, so you're going to feel like you failed. Meet yourself where you're at. Show yourself some compassion and love. But we all carry this internet troll in our own heads with us. It's just shit talking endlessly about if we spoke to our friends or anybody the way we talk to ourselves, we would not have any friends.
No.
Yeah.
Yet we do all the time.
I think it's such an Irish thing too.
I think it's a human thing. So I think,
we talk ourselves down.
We do
all the time.
We don't want to.
We're not
step out of any kind of scenario where we're scared to shine a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So it's that tall poppy syndrome. It's the tall poppy that gets cut down. It's that frogs in a bucket. As soon as a frog tries to escape, the others will pull it back to their level. And I think that probably was a good thing to an extent when we lived in small tribal communities, because if you were constantly like acting out, you were potentially not keeping the equilibrium of that tribe. So we don't like to do things that make us feel shame or get other people's disapproval or whatever. So we just don't do anything. And then we're really hard on ourselves that we've got to meet a level. Now we live in a world where we know thousands of people and we're putting our lives out there for everybody to see, but curated, only the good stuff. And so, we don't want to do anything that's going to disrupt that narrative that we've created. So we are even harder on ourselves now. And it's like that big, endless, depthless well of love that's there. We need to actually shine a bit of that on ourselves, because when we do meet ourselves where we're at, we're able to progress forward and we're able to forgive ourselves when we do mess it up, in inverted commas, because there is no messing up. There's just lessons learned. And I think that's how you make resilient, anti-fragile people. And that's a big thing of what we're trying to do, is create this, it's beyond resilience. It's being faced with the difficulties of our modern age and becoming changed for the better from it. So it's like a crucible that we're in. We become anti-fragile to the point where whatever you throw at us, we grow from it. But that really does have to involve self-compassion in order to do that. So that's the big thing that we talk about. And I'm waiting for some kickback at some point. Somebody say, "Oh yeah, you're just you're being too soft on people. You're advocating for people not pushing themselves and whatever." That's not what we're talking about. Like I
didn't get that anyway.
No, but when you've got, I love a bit of David Goggins like the next man, and I love that balls to the wall, full on. Let's push it. Let's go to the point of breaking, and then actually realise we're not at the point of breaking. We can go further again and further again. I love all of that stuff, but you also need the other side of that coin. You need the it's okay to have a day off.
Well, you mentioned there you're going to have naysayers about this kind of way of life, but I would consider a naysayer of that kind of life. They're far too comfortable with the modern world, I suppose. They're too comfortable, and that scares them. It scares them that they feel like they're going to lose something in their life if they would have a more practical and more sensible kind of life. Does that make sense? That's kind of how I would see it anyway.
So a lot of people are kind of concerned of facing discomfort.
Yeah.
And one of the mantras that we use all the time is lean into discomfort to move away from pain. So we like the kind of metaphor of the thorny hedge, right? The thorny hedge, that's your comfort zone. That's the edge of your comfort zone, right? And we don't want to go near it because it's uncomfortable, it's painful. You're going to get stung, you're going to get prickled, whatever. So we stay just shy of it. But what's on the other side of that? Because we're in this place, and all of the issues that we have with this place, surrounded by this spiky hedge, are there, and it's not until that the problems from where we are become so much that we're willing to risk the pain of pushing through the hedge to get to something else. But it's discomfort. But when we go through that discomfort, we leave the pain behind. And it could be something as simple as like, oh, I've got a painful shoulder. I say, okay, well, we're going to do a whole load of exercises that are going to work on that range of motion. And it's going to be uncomfortable. Or, you know, I want to build my cardiovascular health because I have a history of heart disease. Okay, well, we're going to build that, and it's going to involve some walking, maybe some being on a bike, maybe some running or swimming, whatever. And it's going to be uncomfortable because running sucks when you first start at it. And the reality is it always sucks. You just embrace the suck. But by doing it, you end up not having the pain. You end up lessening the risk of heart disease. Your shoulder feels a lot better now that you've been doing some kettlebell moves and some hanging involved in it. And that's when that's when the aha, eureka moment comes in, where people realize actually, you know, it's just discomfort, but there's a benefit to it.
It's a sense of what you think you're capable of, because I see it in myself over the years. And if you don't identify yourself as in a certain way, like for me, and I've said this in our workshops, Glenn used to, when we lived up at the nature reserve, we had a big barn out the back of the house that was a makeshift gym, and Glenn used to run his classes up there. And on a Saturday morning, a group of women that were sort of roughly my age would drive up, and Glenn would take, they'd do like their workout session, and I would stay in bed, like, bye, enjoy. And I just did not identify myself as someone who lifted a weight or did kettlebells, because I'd never done it before. And it wasn't until like quite a long period of time passed, and I thought, what am I doing? These women are like me. It's, there's no difference here, really. I mean, they weren't... Yeah. It was just in my head. And I now go to a women's only gym in Mahara, and I'll give them, it's LMA, Lisa McAllister,
Yep,
yeah. And it's incredible because it's as I say, it's women only, but it's just from every age and every size and every ability, and we're all in there together. And you see, and we're swinging kettlebells and lifting weights and push-ups and whatever, and everybody works to their own ability, but every single woman pushes themselves. Like, it's just wonderful to watch. But I think that because we do live a more sedentary lifestyle, the idea for us of going to do something that is like a workout just seems like, what? I don't do that. I've never done that before. But I've suggested to friends to come along, and one of my friends, she'd been having a really, really tough time, and I said to her, just come and see what you think. And she said that in the car park she wanted to cry before coming in. She's been there 2 years now, and she absolutely smashes it every session. She's incredible. She had her hip replaced a couple of years ago. Absolutely amazing. And I think, so we talk about compassion and really, as you say, meeting yourself where you're at, but also we are so much more capable of what we, have any idea of. And it's only when you've taken that step and you've decided, right, okay, I know that exercise or movement is good for me. What am I going to do? I'm going to find a way to move more. And I do feel now that there's something about feeling strong as a woman as well. It never had occurred to me before, even picking stuff up, when you go somewhere, lifting suitcases, or when you had to pick the kids up. But also, we found ourselves in a situation of caring. My mum was smaller than me, but if she fell on the floor, getting her off the floor was not easy when she had no body weight or no ability to, help herself get off the floor. So there's situations that we are faced with all the time, and I think that we need to be stronger, and that's for all sorts of different reasons, but fitter, stronger, and all of that, and that's what we talk about.
So I also like to the narrative that people have. So this is something we talk about in the habit formation. Is people will say, "Oh," and this is something that we have one-to-one clients, and so many. I think for some reason, just the content we put out, the type of people we are, we often get people who I have to work with them for quite a long time before they finally accept that they are people that will do the things I'm asking them to do. And so it's constantly, and it's about the narrative. So if you say, "Oh, I'm not a runner," well, you will be shown the evidence as to why you're not a runner. If you say, I want to eat healthy," okay, slightly better, but what you're saying is, I'm not somebody that eats healthy. I need to do this. Again, because it's something that I'm not doing. If you say, "I'm a runner," I haven't run a day in my life. I'm a runner. So there's a part of the brain. So we receive so much information, so many bits of information a day. It's the equivalent of reading like Wikipedia, every single page of Wikipedia 3 times every single day. Right? Our brains cannot cope with that large amount of information. So we have special things in our brains that act like filters of information. One bit's called the reticular activating system. And you will always seen this work. So when you buy a new car, you'll suddenly see that same make and model everywhere. Yeah. Because suddenly this type of car has value to you. So your brain goes, "This is important, therefore I'm going to show them this all the time," right? But if you say, "I'm not a runner," that part of the brain goes, "Right, okay, we're not a runner, so let's look for all the examples of why we're not a runner." But when you change your narrative, when you change your story, the brain goes, "Oh, hang on a minute." It's the same with plant identification. When you see a plant for the first time, you suddenly start seeing it everywhere. It's a really, really clever device. And it just means that we don't have to filter through every single bit of information that's coming there, just the stuff that's relevant.
Like a quick search.
Yeah, so it's exactly like that. It's a little filtering device in our brain. So when we are aware of that, we can then be aware of the narrative, the language that we're using about ourselves. And again, this is where compassion comes, because I am not a runner. Don't give a damn. Now you are, because you've decided you're going to be. So I want you to say, "I am a runner. I'm going to put my shoes on because I'm a runner." And this changes the way the brain starts to function. So it's going to show you opportunities of when you can run. You'll be like, "Oh, actually, that looks like a good route. I never noticed that little lane there before, but that would be quite nice to run down." All these things happen to, again, coalesce to actually change the story that we're in. So if you want to change your life, you change your story. And it's amazing the things that start to happen. And this is the idea that you hear with the whole manifestation world. But this is an actual thing that's happening in the brain. So I kind of like the idea of the manifestation stuff.
I like it too. There's a book, isn't there? What's
Manifest.
That's the one.
Roxy Nafusi.
Yeah. What do you think of that?
Well, we currently listen to her meditations. I thought it was a really, really good.
I really liked it.
My
really good
problem
book.
is
He's going to go off on one.
my problem is
Is it because of her?
no, it's not because of her. It
has become a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But before, anyway, regardless of
Sorry, I interrupted.
whoever it is, I'm a dyed-in-the-wool hippie. I love to have my feet in the soil. I love to hug the trees. I talk to rocks, all that sort of stuff. But I'm also a scientist. I love science. So I have this weird kind of dichotomy of like loving to burn incense and whatnot, but also want to look at the chemical makeup of this incense and what it's doing to my brain. So whilst I like the idea of like, if you just think happy thoughts, good stuff will happen to you. There's lots of examples where that doesn't happen. But understanding that the reticular activating system, the RAS, is there and it is filtering stuff in your way. And it's this idea that once you make a decision to do something, suddenly serendipitous things happen. People can sort of end up in your path and it looks like magic. And maybe there is a little bit of energetic working, quantum physics going on there. Maybe there is. But also your brain is like looking out for, it's listening to conversations that you don't even know that you're listening to. And it's like, and suddenly you find yourself, in front of people and they're talking about the thing that you're talking about or that you're interested in. So you then, that was serendipitous, wasn't it? But the brain is put you in that position. So how we talk to ourselves is hugely important. Again, this is where the compassion comes from. If we speak like shit to ourselves, the brain will go, okay, we'll
give you that.
So when people say, I would do this, but I just can't, I'm just rubbish at this. So, okay, have you got examples of when this is true? Yes, I do. Okay, tell me some of the examples. This. Okay, that sounds like it's true. But have you got any examples when it wasn't true? Well, yeah, there was this time when I did this and I was able to do this perfectly well. And there was this time. Okay, so we've got examples that this is true, but we've also got examples of the opposite is true. You have the decision, you have the choice to choose which one you're going to believe. And believing something is a difficult thing, but we can fake it till we make it. Saying I am a runner when you've never run a day in your life is faking it until you make it. But if you continue to say I'm not a runner, you won't be a runner. So it is an interesting aspect, but this is changing the narrative is a really important part of creating habits because we're so down on ourselves. And we have lots of examples of when that habit, journaling for you, or meditation or whatever, you haven't been able to do it properly. Or not properly, you haven't been able to do it continuously. But so it's very easy to say, yeah, I've tried meditating, but I just can't do it. Okay, that's the narrative we're going with. We'll make sure that everything's set up to keep us safe in that knowledge. So changing that narrative is a dramatic act of self-care and of changing the whole setup. So it is really important.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. But I really like the manifest thing. I listened to the book and I think I got a lot from it. I do think it's true. I do think like if you strongly believe, just exactly what you said, if you strongly believe in something that you are that person, it can help. It does,
but because you have to also do.
You have to do
If you just think, there
was some of the stuff in the book, wasn't it? She did like a mood board. Well,
I was going to say that she takes you through the steps, So I think that was useful for that book in that it's, explaining the concept around it, but then taking you through a sort of practical steps. And we are doing that at the moment because, we have plans for our business, plans for how we want our lifestyle and our life to look like.
And
very much the opposite. Very much the opposite. I think a little cottage in the woods.
So our dream cars, we're going to have two.
Oh,
we're going to be loaded. Our dream cars for Kelley, it's a
Skoda Yeti.
Skoda Yeti.
Nice.
And for me, it's a Berlingo.
So basically the
maybe
same
like a
car.
Berlingo camper.
And then we want a nice fancy a sort of a 4-wheel drive camper to go. But we're working on that, and we've been doing a business mentorship program with it's called Go Succeed,
Yeah,
and
heard of it,
at Workspace.
I've done that.
Workspace. So we've been doing that, and we were only at the very early stages of it, but actually it's been very good for us to have those conversations about what is this, where is it going next.
Oh, it's fantastic.
And certainly for our business, we have it's had different shapes and forms because we were on a nature reserve managing that for 10 years. We were very, very much centred there and focused on our work, and it was very much us there. And then now we're not there. It's right, well, how do we want to shape this? And so it's really useful. I find that very useful, and I've just listened to Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza, and that's very much about it's sort of going inward, and it's sort of about meditation, but it's more about your essence, your natural, who you actually are, and kind of getting rid of identity and place and all of that, and trying to kind of tap in to a more sort of a deeper connection to yourself. Yes, but then from that you develop into a sense of what you can make happen from there. So I'm all over that shit at the minute.
I love those books.
But so just to say about, because I know we'll go off on a tangent, but 5 Circles is an 8-week program, and it's online, and so we sort of designed it so if you did Ember first, then that sort of sets as the foundation to then move it into the 5 Circles. But you can do 5 Circles on its own if you want. So it's an 8-week program, but once you buy it, you're in, and you can then work at your own pace. So Ember, we're going to be running again in mid-September, and then we'll go into 5 Circles. So
Ember is free.
Ember's free.
Do they have any interaction with yins whenever they're doing any
So
of these courses?
we do a call at the start, just a check it, just an initial sort of introduction to us.
Nice.
And then we do a sort of a Q&A, so that just halfway through, if anybody's got any
And people can
issues.
put up comments and stuff on
A message all the
each
time.
of the videos.
Yes,
and whatever there,
So we're still kind of, again, we're working out whether to be. It's strange with online courses. It's so we ran when we were running courses sort of back in sort of early 2022, and we were still coming out of the pandemic. I just think it was a completely different landscape, and we just found everybody was really engaging with each other. We had a Facebook community for Ember, which it was called something else at that stage, but lots of interaction, and then we sort of ran it again at the beginning of this year. It's very, very little interaction. Now, people did, but it wasn't what we'd expected, because it wasn't what had happened.
Sort of
It felt like tumbleweed. We didn't know then how much to sort of step in, and do you just let people get on with it?
Because then it was
a weird one.
Sort of speak to somebody, and they'd be like, "Oh, that was absolutely fantastic," or this bit really, really helped me," or even on the social media pages, "Oh, I really like that thing you do on this day. I always look forward to that." It's like, you've never commented I didn't know you followed me, kind of thing. But so that's just a new landscape.
They'll tell you they'll tell you face to face.
It's become so part of every day that people don't think.
Don't interact.
Interact. So it's as kind of provide content creators, it's so unnerving.
It's different age ranges, I find, as well. You see, even in this podcast and nothing else, everything else, we get different engagement on things. I'm sure Fergal does too with his business stuff. But on this podcast, you would get the odd comment, but see, whenever, like, say a guest goes, "Oh, here, how'd the episode go? Any feedback?" And I says, "Do you know what? I would get feedback in person.
Mm-hmm.
I would just get people talking to me in the public, like
Yes.
people, even people I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's how
Yeah.
I personally get feedback for episodes, and I get the odd message or something from people. But and then the guests themselves would maybe get 20 or 50 people messaging them, but myself, I don't know about you, Fergal, I just get people in the wild just randomly
Just mention it.
just talking like.
Well, we found that we've had, and for us as well, if one person says that just really helped me,
Yeah.
for us, I mean, that is why we're doing it essentially. And we ran Ember, as we say, it was going, and we had a woman, and she was going through some stuff with her family, and every morning they sort of at breakfast time all sat together and watched the videos together.
Oh, that's nice.
And and we were kind of so touched by that.
Yeah, that's nice.
And it just and she would then sort of send a message. So if you get that really sort of genuine interaction, and and we have had incredible feedback over the years, but I
leaves
think
me crippled in tears.
Oh, he just cries.
I'm a right crier.
It is priceless, like.
Yeah.
But it really gets me, but it's that, it's like this is why, like, I would much prefer to do stuff in person, but we live on an island with a very small population, and so many people are in pain. So many people are suffering from trauma. So many people have got health issues. So many people just feel desperate because the way the modern health and fitness industry works, so many people fall through the gaps in it. And that's really what we're there for, because it is a very different approach. And I feel that pain that people have so acutely because I've been there, and it just makes you sort of desperately wanting to be able to reach out and give people an alternative. And so, like, doing it online, as unnerving as it is with the way the modern climate is with interaction, it's great to know that we're starting to get out there, and we're still really in the infancy of this style of
it's evolving, isn't it? So we did run 5 circles in person in Maherfelt there, and it was a 6-week program for parents of children with additional needs, and it was so helpful for us to see how it played out in person, as well as so you're offering it online. But for us,
and to a demographic who they're anything but typical in their daily schedule.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So being able
to
so being able to sort of adapt and find those ways that you can incorporate the habit, or you can incorporate some change and feel that it isn't just about getting through the day, that there is something else that you're grateful for that you've achieved, and we're also developing a version of 5 circles, but that we'll be using that as the framework. It will be in person, but it's much more heavy on the nature engagement side. So doing a lot more kind of outdoor health and well-being stuff within the actual frame. So that's in the pipeline. We're just sort of working on it and seeing how it takes shape.
And we've got a new online fermenting program coming soon, and we're also going to do a fundamental kettlebell program because, as some of you guys here know, I bloody love kettlebells. They're brilliant, but also I think they are just such a brilliant implement, a tool to use for people as they get older, people who are busy, can't get to gyms, don't necessarily have much money, very little money, will have you a kettlebell or a few kettlebells that will see you for the rest of your life. And it's a beautiful way of incorporating both, some cardio, some strength, and some mobility work. And yeah, so I want to do a little fundamental, get the big six moves of the kettlebell down, but do that as an online course as well.
Cool. As soon as they all come out, we'll definitely promote them and push them out there for everybody.
It's
You have all the videos though, do you know?
I want to do them all again. So
He loves it.
I don't.
I love it.
I
Showed us the videos.
but there'll be better videos.
So just to give you a bit of insight into 5 Circles, there's 56 videos.
Yeah, he
No,
said
there's over
that.
60.
Oh, there's over 60 videos, and a lot of that is not actually the movement videos, but predominantly Glenn's brain and producing,
Spewing onto the screen.
in a very clear and very
It's a lot more philosophical.
it's a lot more philosophical.
It's
Yeah,
a lot of value.
so it was an intense time to create it. I said to him it was a bit like imagine he was like in the studio creating an album, and I would swan in and record a few videos and bring him his dinner, but it was very much
but they're all
a
designed
project of passion.
There's some fancy graphics and B-roll and stuff like that, just so you're not constantly looking at my odd face. But they're designed. They're all short. They're hardly any of them are longer than 10 minutes. Most of them around the sort of 6-7 minute mark. But they're designed that you don't need the graphics, so you can just listen to it like a podcast. So if you're going to watch it up, walking the dog or whatever, you can put it on and hear my dulcet tones.
I was going to say,
grinding
you
into your
guys
ear.
need to start a podcast, because
You do have a good voice for that sort of stuff.
People tell me that my friend, we always have a laugh about it, that I've got a relaxing voice. Her child used to always fall asleep, when I was around. And she always used to say, "Can you record some bedtime reading?"
Well, that's what I was going to suggest. You should record like the Cam app or the Headspace.
Yes, that could be
That could be a part of
down
the 5 Circles.
Well, we do a bit of meditative stuff
we've
on
got
the
quite a
5
bit of
Circles.
meditation stuff on that.
So yous are doing the voices for the.
With the meditation on the 5 Circles, a lot of it's breath work. So it's teaching the kind of different cadences.
It's
of
not
breath.
Wim Hof, is it?
No, it's not Wim Hof.
You hate him too.
I don't.
He sounded like he did. Yeah.
I don't. He's come under a little bit of controversy recently. But,
Has he?
He has.
What do you do?
I don't know. He's got a very good legal team, so I don't know if I get got or whether you get got. But
I don't care.
no, it's more. It was more to do with his
Bad boy.
with the water work and you typically don't do breath work and you don't do breath work in the water. So and his website does say don't do it, but there's been a few cases of people.
Oh,
pulling the
accidents and
crop up.
stuff.
Yeah, so the author Scott Carney, who wrote a book about him called
Iceman.
Harder to Kill, I think.
Okay.
No, what doesn't kill us. Scott Carney. He was a big guru buster, and he went in to bust the whole thing about Wim Hof, and actually came out as a full on devotee. But recently he's changed his mind. I've actually stopped following Scott. He's a bit whiny.
Sounds like you should stop.
But no, it's not. So a lot of the Wim Hof breathing is really good at kind of energizing for up regulating. So we're looking at down regulating. So we would do box breathing. We would do what's sometimes called coherence breathing or cadence breathing, which is a slightly different proportion of in breath to out breath.
Physiological sigh.
Physiological sigh, which again helps reduce stress, which is you do in a couple of seconds. And then we also do.
Is that just a normal sigh?
It's not. So the whole surface area of the lungs, if you spread them all out, would be about the size of a tennis court. And they're made up of lots of little pockets, little alveoli and stuff like that. And over time, because we don't breathe particularly efficiently, especially in our modern society, these pockets can sort of get stuck together. So the physiological sigh is we breathe in through the nose to a full breath. And then when we get to the top, we do another quick sharp inhale. So that second inhale kind of pops everything open. But just the fact that we then are able to breathe more efficiently, it sends a message to the nervous system that everything's groovy, so we can sort of down regulate. So, and the same thing happens with box breathing, where we're breathing in for 4, holding for 4, breathing out for 4, holding for 4. And again, it tells our brain that our body is acting as if we're in our parasympathetic nervous system, our rest and digest nervous system. So it takes us out of that stress. Even though we're feeling stressed, our body's doing the opposite, so therefore we must be okay. So it down regulates the stress response. So we do those, and then we've got a walking meditation. So it's just it's a technique that I got from Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese Zen Buddhist monk who set up a monastery in France, the Plum Village monastery, and he uses an approach called a gatha, which is like originally it's like a sort of a religious verse, but it's just a series of lines that help keep you focused, and it combines just normal walking, not slow walking, just normal walking, but the phrase that we repeat over and over again that takes our sort of mindful consciousness into our bodies, into the ground around us, further away, and
like
just keep repeating that. And it's just a really nice way of...
It's just nice because you can do it anywhere.
What's the phrase?
So I wrote it myself. So it's, I am walking, I feel the ground beneath my feet. I feel the rise and fall of the landscape. I am here, I am now. So as you're doing it, I am walking. I actually think about feeling my muscles working. Is there any creakiness? Are there any aches and pains? Am I feeling a stretch in the tendons in my feet? So I'm in my body at this point. So I'm walking. I feel the ground beneath my feet. This is where wearing minimalist shoes or being barefoot really comes in. So I'm now feeling the ground beneath my feet. Is it hard? Is it soft? Is it gravelly? Am I on grass? Is it squidgy? Is it mud? Are there roots or whatever? So now I'm taking my consciousness directly below my feet. I feel the rise and fall of the landscape. So I'm extending it out a little bit further. So am I going uphill? Am I going downhill? Am I tilted to the left? Am I tilted to the right? I am here, I am now. And this is where I send my kind of focus completely out. So this is where I'll look up into the trees. I'll actually look through the trees. I'll think, which way's the wind coming from? Where's the sun? What birds can I hear? I'll look behind me. So now I've expanded my attention outwards. And so it's kind of pulsing in and out from me like that. So it just allows me to focus on myself and where I am in the world around me and the world around me. And it's just a really nice way of, I just repeat that silently in my head as I'm walking. But you don't have to, in Zazen meditation, you will sit for 25 minutes, half an hour, and then you'll do what they call kinhin, I think. It's a little 10-minute walking, 5-minute walking meditation, but it's very slow and very conscious. And if you're doing that around town, you just look like a knob. So, whereas when you walk normally doing this gatha, nobody knows you're doing it.
Yeah.
But it's just really nice to kind of have that sort of bellow effect of your attention moving in and out of yourself. And it's, I've not really seen it being used much at all, but yeah, that came from Thich Nhat Hanh. And yeah, he has
I feel like that could work. Definitely.
Could be cool, actually. Work.
Yeah. Sorry, have you looked into grounding? Do you follow?
Yeah.
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 Is that something you would do as part of your routine?
Absolutely. Massively so. Again, the hippie in me thinks,
well, that's why I wanted to ask.
Obviously it's relevant. The scientist in me says, is this true?
But there's science behind it,
yes, so there is. But if you look at a scientific paper, and it's been a couple of years since I've done the sort of paper search, publication search. Most of the publications that I saw, if you scroll to the bottom of a publication, you'll see any conflicts of interest. And a lot of the people that have done these really positive reports have some kind of investment in grounding technologies.
Yeah, because
So I take a pinch of salt. But like, does it have an effect on the body? 100%. That's a given. And potentially some of these grounding technologies have more of an effect than just walking barefoot in the grass. But walking barefoot in the grass, on the sand, in the dirt, on a rock, and the beach, going for a swim in the sea or a lake, it's all free, and it's total immersion there. And also you're getting all those other things. Walking barefoot through a woodland, you have to walk slowly because you're going to tread on stuff, and then you're getting you're seeing the fractals of nature that have an effect on the brain, the phytoncides, the chemicals that trees release that we know have an effect on calming the brain as well as boosting the immune system. So all of these things, these work. So there's no downside to it other than stepping on a thistle. But so yeah, we use it. We have a grounding sheet which you plug in. I even have occasionally, if I feel like I've got an ache and pain, I'll get those sort of press studs that they put ECGs on.
Yeah.
One of them, and I literally like clip a lead and plug it into the wall, and it's plugged into not into the live current, but into the earth. Yeah. And I'll go to sleep like that. And then I've got
a sheet.
We've got a mat.
Bed.
Yeah.
And then it's grounding mats that we use. So. And, you know, I was like, I like it. I'm going to do it regardless because it's cool. Does it have the effect? And it was actually the fact that Tour de France riders utilise it a shitload. And they use it, you know, for accelerating healing if they come off their bike and stuff like that. And I thought, you know, the amount of money that gets pumped into that, and they'll do anything they can do to get an extra... extra bed.
You're joking.
But yeah, so it's and it doesn't, you know, WADA or whoever it is don't recognise
say
it.
if you're going out to your John's going out to his backyard tomorrow morning, his bare feet grounding, how long would you recommend he stand out there and enjoy the sun, like, to get a good effect from grounding?
I don't know what the dose response is. I would say, you know,
as long as you want.
As long as you can,
I get away with it.
Before the neighbours start.
you know, because there's other benefits of that. So going in the morning, so
definitely.
you also when
circadian.
you're doing that circadian health thing, you're getting that blue light, which, you know, doesn't pass through panes of glass. So getting out actually in the sunshine, for even if it's bright sunshine for a couple of minutes is the effects that you need. 10 minutes if it's overcast. Combine that. This is exactly what I do. I go out with my bare feet and I do my mobility flow in the sunshine. So I'm getting some movement. So now I'm producing the serotonin as well, which we'll use later in the day for converting into melatonin. It also makes me feel good. And then any kind of grounding. And, it, you know, there's lots of materials that are conductive. So concrete, you can get a grounding effect from concrete, which is lucky for us because our backyard is concrete. So growing vegetables for us has been an interesting experiment on how we can build things that we can actually grow vegetables. But concrete does, providing there's no membrane underneath it. Tarmac doesn't. So, but grass
Doesn't.
no sand. Putting your feet in a natural moving water. A natural moving water has got loads of other benefits. So when water moves, it's releasing little ionized particles. You know, we get that from, you get that effect, you know, what do they call it, petrichor, that smell you get after it's rained on a summer's day. That's all that ionized, all these, what's it called? Geosmin, I think it is, a bacteria that's, you know, been shown to like lower our anxiety levels and down-regulate the stress response. So, you know, all of these things, they're just nice to do anyway. Like putting your feet in the sand. You know, you know, but lots of people have become overly sensitive to it.
I don't like it.
So, but being on rough ground and different textures, that, you know, you got more nerve endings in your feet than you do your hands. They're designed to take in all this information. So getting out barefoot, regardless of the grounding effect, has a positive effect on our system. Like I've got a front door mat next to my bed and I scrub my feet on it before getting into bed
So
and coming out
sexy.
again.
You scrub your
And then
feet again.
I plug myself in to, and then put the tape on my mouth.
That's right, you did the
and,
tape too, yeah.
and yet my wife is still with me.
And the toe separators.
And the toe separators. And
Do you say goodnight, honey, before the tape, or do you just go?
this is the thing.
It's a good question, John.
It's the most annoying thing in the world. Like, we're getting there, and I'll put the tape on. Good night, give her a kiss. Put the tape on, switch the light off, and then she'll ask me a question. And so I'm trying to talk out of this, and it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, Kelley. Every time.
I love talking about this sort of stuff. It's
Yeah, the
fascinating.
insight into our world sometimes.
But this,
because it seems normal
To us.
To us. I mean, like, yeah, I don't have any reaction to this.
Say anything?
but it's so every year, every Christmas time, I do 12 days of weirdness, and these are odd practices
yes.
that I do. And we've had 4 years of me doing it,
Yeah,
and I'm sort of thinking we're going to run out soon. But every year there's something else.
Find something else.
But this is something that we talk about in all of our courses. It's about becoming your own scientist. So facts, numbers, readings, measurements. They're just numbers. Your weight is just a number. Your blood pressure is just a number. Your body fat percentage just a number. Numbers for a scientist have no emotional value. They're just numbers. But we add emotion to them. We add morality to them. Oh, it's far too high. It's like, it doesn't matter where it is. We want to become scientists. We want to view that, and whatever it is. That's square one. That's the datum. And all we want to do is we want to see it improve. We want to see it go up or go down, whichever direction it is. And so becoming your own scientist, where you're actually able to step back outside of the emotion and just look at the data, is really useful. But we are all scientists of our own self. So this is why things like, so should you do grounding? Do grounding. See how it makes you feel. If it doesn't do anything for you, then maybe don't waste your time with it. If you feel great doing it, does it matter? Is it because of the change of electrons? Is it because you're now enlivening the nerves in your feet? Is it because you're outside? Is it because your athlete's foot suddenly got better because you're letting your tootsies out more? Doesn't really matter. And then once we sort of see these things, then we can start tweaking them, adding things, removing things slowly. But everyone is different. There is no one size fits all. That's why we all want to be a scientist, an N equals 1 sample size, single sample size, and it's just you. So it's completely relevant to you. So this is why the 5 circles is really useful, because it's just a system. It's not saying you need to do this. It's like you take what's useful for you and you leave the other stuff.
Yeah, it's not rigid.
And you come back to it if you need it. You add this in. This didn't work for me. Well, that's great. Then don't do it. Or I want to do that, but I don't want to do that. Fine, do that. Don't do that. But if at some point this feels relevant, then you bring it in. There's no dogma involved in it. It's completely unique to you. So this is, I talked about this last time I was with you. Our aim is to put ourselves out of business as quickly as possible. We want to get people to the point where they don't need us as quickly as possible, because when people do that, they are empowering themselves. They take the power back, and the modern health and fitness industry takes the power away from you.
Yeah, they don't want that.
It's like you do your diet for 12 weeks, and then you stop doing your diet,
Then you go
and then you
back.
put all the weight back on. It's a 6-week boot camp. Well, what do you do after that? It only you then pay for another 6-week boot camp. We want people to develop their own movement practice, their own eating philosophy, their own strategies, their own health and well-being, their mental health toolkit that works for them. And then they've got that, and they can just come back to that each time. It's not, you need to do this, this, and this, and this. It's like, these are the tools. Pick one and try it out. Doesn't work, great, that's fine. And so that's really, because we want to empower people. We want to earn a living, but
There's enough people out there.
yeah, there's enough people out there, and there's no sign of society as a whole getting healthier
Fixing
in
that
lots of
problem,
ways.
yeah.
So But the more people that are fixing themselves, the more people realise that it's completely within their power to do it, and that therefore they get hope again. They don't feel desperate in the fact that they've tried everything and nothing works.
Love it. I can't do the tape thing, just the mustache. It's going to wreck that.
Staple it.
It's about time you took that mustache off for a few
No, I don't know what's underneath. I don't want to see what's underneath.
It will look like you've got a massive lip.
I'm just thinking, we've stuff there that you've brought.
Yes.
For tasting.
Yes. Yeah.
And then we'll probably finish it up because it feels like we've been here for hours.
For the end, love it.
I was gonna say.
I think food for the end, and then we'll have you back in again, and we can chat a lot more. There's so much more stuff I want to talk about that I didn't even get to, but this has been fantastic. But here, will we get some
you
food?
want me to-
Can we take a wee break? I just want
Alright, yeah, just about.
I'd like a run to the lavatory. Just
Alright, go you to the
Go to the toilet and then we'll go.
Oh, use that shit out there, work away.
No, we'll wait till you
Keep it
come back.
rolling. Keep it rolling.
Oh, shall we? Yeah, okay. So what
No, I'm giving it to you.
do we have?
So, here, I'll just grab the other plate.
Oh, sorry, you
do
were
that.
the
Oh,
one.
that's mine. I'll grab that, Kelly. You're very lucky I wasn't over here like slipping away at all this stuff.
I just noticed
But
that.
get away with it, like popping and popping and things all right.
Take it. Oh,
Right.
No,
sorry.
take it.
This is like such a wee baby plate, isn't it?
so usually in the workshops you've got about 6 or 7 different, like I'll make like loads of samples. Oh, loads of ferments for people to sample. That's what I was going to say. So you've got, yeah, he's already digging in. Jude's already.
Right, tell me what I should try first.
Well, I'll tell you what you've got on your plate, and then you can decide what you want to try first. So there's green beans that are garlic and chili, fermented with garlic and chili. You've got carrots that are sort of a Thai inspired. So it's lemongrass, ginger, coriander, and lime.
Lovely.
And then salsa, which are tomatoes, peppers, garlic, lime. What else is in there? Coriander.
So it's a fermented salsa. Like.
Fermented salsa, yeah. So you can just have as I say, some of it's sour or
Go
tangy.
cucumber or
Beans.
Beans.
Yeah. So you'll see what I was saying about them still having a bit of having that crunch, like those.
That's lovely.
It's
So,
nice.
there's not that much heat to it, no.
Well, so again, it's like actually chili loses its heat over time when you're fermenting it. So when I'm running workshops, I'll add the chili, but I try not to add too much because of different. Yeah. So again, depending on your preference, you can add more or less, or if you don't want to eat garlic or you don't like onion or anything, you can just play around with it. So John, you've got garlic and chili French beans. You've got Thai inspired carrots, which is like lemongrass, ginger, coriander.
Oh, wow.
And lime. And then you've got a salsa, which is tomatoes, peppers, coriander, garlic, lime.
Salsa is next level.
There's a lot of flavour from that carrot.
It looks so fresh. I'm going to try it. Is this, you say green beans?
Yeah.
So what was it? How was this done?
So you've got two different there's two ways of, I suppose, fermenting vegetables. One is where you make a brine, like a salt, like if you looked at anything in the shop, like olives are in a brine. So it's a salt water brine. And so the beans and the carrots were in salt water with all the other ingredients to flavour them, and then they're fermented. The salsa is called. It's like, say if you were making like kimchi or sauerkraut, which
trying to
the
think
facial expressions.
What are you taking a photo for?
No, I just realised I ate my plate in like 3 seconds and I forgot to take a picture of it.
Oh,
I was like, why are you taking a photo of me for?
Putting you under pressure.
so there's the dry salting, which is where you don't need a brine. You basically add salt to the vegetables, and then the salt draws out the liquid naturally, and then they ferment in their own liquid. So there's different ways depending on the vegetable. And, you know, so like the beet kvass, that was like a brine. It was a salt brine that the beetroot fermented. So you see how it's all got a crunch.
Carrot are tasty.
They're good. It's like, but that is fresh food. You know, it's fermented. It's alive with healthy bacteria, healthy life. And then
flavor.
it's still, when you like pickle in vinegar, there's nothing, you know, it's kind of dead in terms of like nutrition. It might have still kept some. So when you ferment, it goes through a process where even though they're still crunchy, they've been broken down. So they're much more easy to digest. The nutrients are more bioavailable to us. So our body absorbs the nutrients easier. And they obviously introduce this sort of beneficial bacteria into the gut.
So it's worth noting as well, like fermented food isn't for everybody. So there are a small element of the population who probably should steer clear of fermented
Some people
food.
can't have sourdough for that reason.
What's the effects? Is
So some people have there's
SIBO
the
is
SIBO,
one.
which is like small intestinal bacterial outgrowth or overgrowth.
Right.
So adding more, certain people with some gastric issues would be put on a FODMAP diet, which is it's an anagram of things to avoid in the diet, and the F is fermented food. So it could give too much to them. They've already got too much going on there. But there's...
They would probably know that already, you know.
And that's why you always want to start small. But I mean, we had one client that came to me for some personal training work because he had colitis, some kind of form of colitis.
Yeah.
And he was desperate to try and bulk himself up. So he wanted to build some muscle. But the problem was he just wasn't getting the nutrients in. His stomach wasn't absorbing them. So I put him on a hypertrophy program or whatever, but Kelley also gave him and taught him how to make milk kefir. And it was quite interesting because over time he needed less of his medications that he went on and whatever. And at our time, and he just felt a lot better in his gut. And then about 18 months later, he came back to me, and he was heading overseas. He'd met some woman, but he came back to me to say, could I come and see you again? Because I need to lose a bit of weight, because his gut had changed so much. He was now absorbing all of the food that he never had. So he's eating exactly the same way. And now he'd got a little paunch that he wanted to try and get rid of. So that was kind of, it's an anecdotal example of it, but it's amazing how, that.
And again, not to say, because again, it's like, the danger with any of these, that it seems like the popular or the trend at the time, and then it's like, this is going to cure me. This is, if I start eating fermented food and I've got this issue, this is going to cure me. And that's not, that's why we talk about being so cautious and sort of starting with low, small quantities. Yeah. But the research now, and we're talking about scientific research, I mean, it's really fascinating, because this is often called wild fermentation, because it can't be controlled, like Glenn said. Depending on the environment where you fermented, depending on the bacteria that's already on the vegetables or whatever you're fermenting, depending on the utensils that you use, what's on your hands, everything, it will affect, what's in that jar. And so it's not, it won't be the same. I mean, like my sauerkraut, which is fermented cabbage, which I very much appreciate sounds disgusting.
No, so
Um,
I love
But
sauerkraut.
sauerkraut is, I mean, for me, it's just one of the most brilliant fermented foods because it's so versatile. You can have, like I said, cabbage and salt, create a sauerkraut, but from that you can add carrots, beetroot, whatever. You can have all sorts.
Like I would have the salsa with like nachos and
Yeah.
that would be
But
lovely.
you know,
It's
this
really
is
fun.
for me and for us as a family. The fermented foods, it's an accompaniment.
It goes with like
You don't eat a big
dirty
bowl of salsa, whatever you want to have. So it's you're, as I said before, you're incorporating it as often and as much as you can into your diet, because you may eat a load of fermented foods and it might not even get into the intestine. It might just pass straight through. That's why. I mean, I think it was the University of Stanford did what do you call it? Like research where they had 36 people, half of them on a high fibre diet, half of them on fermented foods, and they found, I think it was for 10 weeks, and they noted huge significant changes with the people who were consuming fermented foods, and there was all sorts of things like improved immune function, skin, mental health. There was all sorts of different parameters that they were testing and looking for, but their recommendation was at least 6 times a day, that you should be having something fermented at least 6 times a day. Now our fridge is full of the stuff, and there's no way that I would have fermented food 6 times a day. So it's all about just, taking what you can. Like I said, you find a recipe that you like and you make that meal. It's the same for fermenting. And that's what I do with the workshops. I bring a whole load of different things for everyone to have a taste. It might be carrots and beans. I'll bring sauerkraut and everybody gets to make a sauerkraut to take home. Garlic fermented in honey, loads of different things, because there's things that you may like and things that you don't. And it's also, our palates these days are much more accustomed to sweeter food because there's sugar in food, and everything. So again, initially eating this stuff, it might not necessarily be that you like it, but there will be probably something, apart from one woman on all the workshops, and she just was like, no, I don't like any of it. It's like, fair enough, fair play. And she did try all of it.
Well, at least she tried.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So, but this, and I know that we're like in terms of time now, but gut health has been now in the past sort of 10 to 15 years, it is really being looked at. And that's why you're seeing kombucha and kefir and all these ones now appearing in the shops. And it's because it's just huge. The impact positive impact that fermented food can have on your health. And it's, when we talk about gut health, I mean, it's like 70 to 80% of our immune cells reside in the gut. The gut is the mouth right through to the other end. It's your whole digestive system. And it's, so eating fermented food has been accepted. It's accepted widely now that it is a really good way of supporting your gut. And if your gut health is flourishing, and if you think about it in the sense of like a garden and having that ecosystem, and if you think of your gut in the same way, and its variety, its diversity, and in keeping that as a regular, consistent thing, it has profound effects on your health and well-being. And that's also mental health as well.
Massively important mental health.
They're looking at connections with Alzheimer's, autism, Parkinson's. There's also, they've taken the gut they do like fecal transplant Do you know what that is?
Heard about that, actually, yeah.
So you basically take someone's shit who's got a healthy gut,
A turkey baster.
and
it
yeah.
up,
So,
yeah.
but they've done like experiments with rodents, where they don't, like, the rat eats the shit, and somebody with ADHD, somebody with depression, and the rat's behaviour has changed. It's altered from having a different, microbiota, the bacteria, from someone that is, sort of has depression or any of these. So that this is just the tip of the iceberg. It's the beginning of something. Nutritionists are now all over it, and I follow quite a lot. And fermenting food is just big and
So,
very
like we said, community is one of the 5 circles, and we think of community. When people think of it, most of the time they're thinking of like, oh, that's really important for mental health and feeling supported and all this kind of stuff, being of service, that kind of stuff. We also extend it out very much so to nature as community, hugely important. But this is the forgotten community, the unseen community, the community of our gut microbiome. Like as far as the number of cells go, only 33% of the cells in your body are human. The rest of them, the majority of them, are all these microbes, bacteria, yeast, molds, fungus, all this sort of stuff. And it's a vital part. We are the human embodiment of our planet's ecosystem. And we know that with our planet, if we mess up one area of it, we chop down the rainforest, it has a knock-on effect with various other parts around the planet. The same thing is in our gut. It has a massive effect. And like 2,500 years ago, Hippocrates, the godfather of modern medicine, where we get the Hippocratic Oath comes from, he said, all disease starts in the gut. And we're now realizing that it seems to be more and more correct. So many illnesses can be caused by autoimmune issues, leaky gut syndrome, all this kind of stuff. And now we also know that a massive effect with our mental health. So like the majority of our serotonin that makes us feel good, that's often prescribed to people with depression and stuff like this, is actually produced in the gut. Only a small proportion of that's put in the brain. And the amount of nerve communication that occurs between our brain and our gut is huge. But interestingly, I think about 95% of that communication goes in that direction. Only 5% comes from our brain to our gut. So it's hugely important. We all know it. Oh, I could feel it in my gut. I just knew it. I just knew it in my gut that it's there. It's hugely important. So like, this is why these things are massively, massively important for health, not just for nutritional health, physical health, and also mental health. So it's definitely
life, as we know, with the ebb and flow of life, your gut health, it doesn't mean that you fix your gut health and then it's fixed. So so much can affect our gut health. We may need to take antibiotics. That's just a given that may be the case. It might be that. So now research has shown that stress massively affects our gut health. So again, with everything that we've been talking about, finding those ways to down-regulate, it might not just be about eating fermented food. There's so many other ways of supporting your gut health. Movement is another one. Nature, getting out, getting into and those microbes, the natural microbes that Glenn was talking about, and also just chilling out as best you can, because it all has a knock-on effect.
Brilliant. It sounds like a bit of an awakening, to be honest with you, and it sounds like it's needed as soon as possible. Mm-hmm. So, fantastic. We'll finish it up there, guys.
Thank you very much.
That was amazing.
That was fantastic. I really, really enjoyed that episode. I loved Glenn's episode as well. Over 2.5 years ago, it was fantastic. So I'm so happy to have him back. It was lovely to meet you too, Kelley.
Thanks for having me.
And have you here. I was fantastic. That was just such a good episode.
I should just say as well, we've changed the name of all of our social media.
Okay, yes. So give us a shout out.
So it is just what is it? It's Wildlife Health Coaching.
Okay.
Wildlife Health Coaching, all one word, and it's on pretty much everything.
On everything. What all are you on?
I say everything, yeah. Bebo and MySpace. No, what we are on
Facebook, Instagram and TikTok.
Twitter.
Sometimes.
Sort of on TikTok. I don't really understand TikTok. And
Yeah.
we are on LinkedIn, but again, I haven't worked out LinkedIn yet.
Here, if you can stay off it, stay off.
We're predominantly Instagram and Facebook because we're old. But we do, we're sort of trying with TikTok and then the website.
Mantras, relaxing mantras, go down on TikTok.
I would.
Dude, I don't know. I talk a lot about foot health, and when I was looking through my Instagram like insights and stuff, weirdly, like my feet are like hobbits' feet, except hairier, right? And I like
you get
run.
foot fetish people.
The ones where I show my feet are a massively high number of interactions.
You've said this. You said this in your
Yeah.
socials.
And I joked that I was starting an OnlyFeet page.
You should.
To then find out there is actually a thing called OnlyFeet, and you can earn up to 30 grand a month.
Oh, there you go.
So see us on OnlyFeet.
Soon. You just need to do a podcast.
Yeah,
to
so
There's too much
Even if it's
information.
audio to start with, get it done, get it started, because people would listen. I would listen to you for hours.
try not to fall asleep to the relaxing
No.
work.
I'll maybe let my son fall asleep to it. I would love to see us in some sort of like wee cooking scenario and teaching people fermented stuff and like a wee kitchen somewhere and a bit of a video happening. That would be amazing. Like,
Yeah.
They're going to, aren't they?
Yeah, so we are
course.
like we've started writing.
In
the
fact, those
fermenting.
green beans, the green chili and garlic
They're
beans, there is actually a tutorial in the five
5
circles.
circles.
For that one.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I just was going to say, in terms of workshops, we do foreign obviously we'd mention the 5 circles that we do in person, but we do offer a lot of other in person. So like the fermenting at events and with groups. We also do foraging walks. So Glenn has a foraging walk on the 16th of August in Pomeroy Forest.
Yep, I've seen that.
That's
that
on
one.
Saturday. My next load of fermenting workshops are actually in Donegal. So I've got like 4 in Donegal around Letterkenny and Falcara and that sort of area. But we will be, as fermenting is a really good one for the sort of, it feels naturally more for the sort of autumn, winter and that. And yeah, because it's like, it lends into that sort of, again, the natural rhythm of like harvesting. Now I know that that's not real for most of us and a lot of us, but summer is a busy time, so I find that a lot of the workshops we do like that. Foraging is good for year round, and the fermenting stuff, I'll tend to do that more in the winter months.
And then for anybody that wants to kind of dig in sort of deeper and get really kind of granular with their health, we offer an online one-to-one coaching package for people. We do in-person coaching as well. So.
Brilliant. Fantastic. I would say there's going to be a lot of people just wanting to jump on that sort of stuff, and just keep an eye out on their socials for any upcoming workshops.
Yeah.
Anybody wants to hire them in for workshops, and all the different courses. Ember and especially the 5 circles sounds like a great one as well.
Yeah.
All sounds fantastic. I had a fantastic time. Virgo,
I had a great time.
Jude,
Sounds like
were you a good time?
Also, Glenn's training my math at the minute and taking her through lots of different.
You're training
nutrition
Jude's
stuff.
math?
Yeah.
Do you know what?
I think she'll kill me if I don't give her a review.
Oh, right.
So
It's getting on.
What does you think? What does you think?
Oh, she's fucking blown away.
Oh,
No, what is so I talked about, I get a lot of clients that I spend an absolute age working with them until they are prepared to accept that they are the type of person that does that. Genevieve is the complete opposite.
Right.
So,
She's a savage.
but I've almost had to say, yeah, you don't have to do that every day. But the improvement that she's made, like, no word of a lie. So we spend a lot of the time literally doing some breakdance moves on the floor. And she, when we started, she was sort of saying, oh, a granddaughter, and I struggle to get up and down off the floor. Right, now she's getting up and down off the floor without using her hands, kind of flipping. She's balancing on a 2-inch beam the other day on one hand and one leg. She really surprised herself by I said reach down and touch your toes, and she was able to reach down with the flat hands on the floor.
Wow.
And now she's just starting to do some kettlebell work. So
Class.
You said she's like your dream client.
she is my dream client. and
Some big steps.
and
like.
as soon as
It's only been 6 weeks.
as soon as I arrive as well, freshly made cup of coffee for me. And I spend more time with her than Jude does. And so I said to Jude, I'm actually inheriting the family farm now. So
I wonder what Mark would have to say about that.
Mark about it.
but, and next time I'm on, I'll tell you all the stories about young Jude. that I've learned.
She does get involved, yeah.
We cut it here.
So we used to, every time we visited, everyone would come for what was it, the chili butter?
She made garlic chili butter.
Garlic chili butter.
Oh,
Everyone would leave a wee sachet
lovely.
of that. She's such a baker.
Good jam maker too, good baker.
Yeah, really good baker.
And now you could kettlebell ring soon to be good.
and B-girl.
And be
Amazing.
Fuck, she
But
should
it is,
get
it's
LinkedIn.
just, it's that sort of, like I said, just being open to it and just going for it. It's great.
No, and she's not batted an eyelid with the weird shit that I get people to do. So she's done really
Plenty
well.
of that.
She's at all the streets.
That's nothing. No, fantastic. Thank you so much
There
for
you
coming
go.
on
Thank
and
you for
sharing
having us,
everything with us. We need to have you back. We didn't even talk about your stories or nothing. Fergal kept asking questions, and I
keep
kept
an
being
air
like,
of mystery, you know.
I kept being like, Fergal, will you shut up? I'm trying to put down the stories here. But no, that was amazing. That was fantastic. Thank you for all the tangents we went on, the roller coasters we went on there. They were absolutely fantastic, and the topics were just mind blowing, to be honest with you. And it was so good to have Glenn back. Lovely to meet you, Kelley. Jude, you all right? You way home?
I'm all good.
He's done. It's
We
bedtime.
really need to cut off here. So
Right, let's go.
thank you so much. Thank you to our listeners and our watchers, and we'll cue the boar on out. That's us.
Deadly.
Thank you.
Jude's away. Thank you so much,
That was
guys.
brilliant.